Across every continent, massive stone monuments stand as silent sentinels of a forgotten era. These structures were built with a mastery of engineering that seems almost supernatural, aligned perfectly with the solstices and the stars. Yet the builders themselves have vanished, leaving no blueprint. Only whispers in stone. Was there a global connection between these civilizations that we have yet to uncover? To study the ancient world is to realize that we are walking upon the bones of giants whose knowledge was lost to the tides of time, waiting for a voice to wake it once more. Hidden deep within the forests of Gansu Province, China, the Majashan cliff temples stand as one of the most remarkable architectural and Buddhist artistic wonders in Asia. Majashan Mountain, meaning Haystack Mountain, due to its rounded shape resembling a giant haystack, rises majestically amid grand natural surroundings, becoming an open-air museum, preserving more than 1,000 years of history, spirit, and human mystery. Yet above all, what sets Majashan apart and makes it unforgettable is not just its beauty, but the extraordinary story of superhuman construction techniques that continue to astonish future generations. How do you think ancient people managed to build the Majashan cliff temples on such steep cliffs with only simple tools? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The history of the Majashan cliff temples began in the 4th century during the Eastern Jin dynasty, when the first monks traveling along the Silk Road stopped in this land. Entranced by the sheer cliff's tranquil scenery and spiritual aura, they chose this site for meditation, religious practice, and spreading Buddhism. Across dynasties, from Northern Wei, Western Wei, Northern Zhou Sui Tang Song to Qing, the complex was continuously expanded, repaired, and enhanced. Spanning 16 centuries, generations of artisans, devotees, and monks carved more than 194 caves to the cliff, creating a complex with over 7,200 statues of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, along with thousands of square meters of ancient murals. Each dynasty, each generation left its own mark on Majashan, from the fluid style of rounded statues to vibrant murals, from traces of traditional craftsmanship to influences from Indian, Persian, and Central Asian cultures that spread along the Silk Road. The construction techniques of Majashan are shrouded in mystery, ingenuity, and a sense of impossibility compared to their era. To carve large caves into the sandstone mountain, the ancients needed the coordinated effort of many groups of craftsmen, monks, and even the broader community. Theories suggest they used simple tools of iron and bronze, along with rudimentary implements, combined with burning and dousing with water to fracture the stone. Yet the caves are so high and deep as to be unimaginable, located in extremely treacherous spots, raising the question, how were materials and tools transported to such heights, and how was safety for workers maintained? The caves of Majashan are unevenly distributed, scattered all over the cliff, with some caves precariously perched in mid-air, where a single misstep could lead to a fatal fall. Many caves are located in places that today require ropes, specialized scaffolding, or even helicopters to access, yet thousands of years ago, everything relied on human strength, ropes, wooden stakes, intelligence, and faith. Not only did they carve caves into the mountain, the artisans of Majashan also innovated a system of wooden stairways and winding corridors connecting the caves along the cliff. Each section of stairway is like a small artery guiding travelers through mid-air, winding upwards, looping around the edge of the abyss, then suddenly diving into the mountain's heart. The technique for building these stairways is itself a mystery. The ancients bored deep holes into the cliff, drove sturdy wooden stakes, and then assembled segments of stairs and railings. Without modern drills or safe scaffolding, every step was done by hand, under the strain of gravity and harsh weather. To keep the stairs stable and securely anchored for centuries required highly refined construction skills, from calculating angles and load-bearing capacity to selecting suitable wood types and treating them against decay. One of the most impressive sights of Majashan is the Buddha and Bodhisattva statues, ranging from 4 to 16 meters tall, erected right at the edge of the cliff, with some seemingly suspended in mid-air. These statues are primarily made of clay, mixed with straw, and bamboo frames, plaster, or stone. The process of transporting materials, mixing molding, and sculpting all had to be done in cramped, dangerous spaces where any mistake could be fatal. The ancients used bamboo scaffolding, temporary frames and ropes to lift materials up high, fix the statue frames, and then gradually apply the clay shape and paint. Some statues, after centuries, have lost their outer layers, but the internal bamboo and clay framework remain intact, a testament to the remarkable techniques for mixing and treating materials. To this day, researchers still cannot fully explain why, in such humid, earthquake-prone, stormy conditions, the large statues have maintained their shapes for thousands of years. Modern scholars have proposed various theories to explain the magnificent construction mysteries at Majashan, but so far, none have provided a truly convincing answer. Some believe in the suspended ladders and pulleys theory, suggesting that ancient builders used long bamboo ladders and makeshift pulleys to transport materials and workers to the precarious spots along the cliff face. However, this raises the question, how could such a rudimentary system be safe enough and withstand strong winds, falling debris, and the relentless wear of time at such dizzying heights? Another hypothesis, known as the section-by-section scaffolding theory, posits that construction was divided into smaller tasks, with teams of workers building segments of stairways and caves one by one, then gradually connecting them into a complete network. While this seems reasonable in terms of labor organization, many still wonder how these segments, stairways, corridors, caves could be linked seamlessly and remain stable for hundreds of years in harsh weather conditions. Additionally, based on the traces of round, deep boreholes left in the cliff, some theorize that ancient builders drilled deeply into the mountain to insert large wooden stakes as supports for scaffolding. Yet, given the primitive nature of ancient tools, drilling deep into sandstone and ensuring the stakes did not slip out under the pressure of gravity and centuries of weathering is truly an incredible feat. To this day, no research has fully answered all these questions, making Majashan a genuine eternal puzzle for archaeologists, construction engineers, and enthusiasts of historical mysteries alike. Over thousands of years, Majashan could not escape the ravages of nature and humankind. Many great earthquakes, floods, and fires have caused parts of caves and Buddha statues to collapse or disappear. Some statues have lost their heads, murals have faded or been deliberately erased. Wars and religious persecutions throughout history have left many hard-to-identify voids, adding even more mystery to the site. Today, conservationists strive to restore while respecting the missing pieces, for these very marks are living proof of the life and death, construction and destruction, rise and fall of Majashan and of all human history. The Majashan cliff temples are living proof of the miraculous fusion of humanity, nature, and religion, a place where the technical mysteries of construction remain unsolved, where every stone, stairway, and statue forms an unending symphony of human aspiration and intellect. However much time passes, however much nature or people may destroy, the spirit of Majashan quietly endures, reminding descendants of an age when faith and creativity could suspend eternal works between earth and sky. There are mysteries that lie silently beneath the earth for centuries, waiting for a single moment of light to reveal themselves. The Xochicalco astronomical shaft in Mexico is a prime example, not as famous as the pyramids, nor as massive as ancient cities, but it contains a marvel of engineering that transcends its era. This vertical shaft is bored straight through limestone, perfectly aligned, so that sunlight can pierce all the way to the bottom at the most special moments. To this day, no one truly knows why the ancients created such an impossible design, or how they managed to achieve it. For that reason, Xochicalco remains a challenge for the imagination and knowledge of modern humanity. Do you think ancient people had knowledge or technology that we still don't understand? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Xochicalco, which in the Nahuatl language means the place of the House of Flowers, was once a bustling urban and religious center around the 7th to 10th centuries AD in the post-Teotihuacan era. What sets this site apart is the astronomical shaft, a vertical well measuring between 8 to 10 meters deep, drilled straight through the dense limestone of the earth. On the surface, the well's opening is only about 1 meter wide, hidden within a small stone room with thick walls and dim lighting. This simple yet mysterious structure is the gateway to a series of questions about the astronomical knowledge, construction skills, and cosmic beliefs of its creators. The most remarkable feature of the Xochicalco shaft lies in its ability to capture sunlight at the extreme points of the year on days surrounding the summer solstice and during other astronomical events. When the sun reaches its highest point in the sky, the zenith passage around mid-May to late July, a single sunbeam passes through the well's mouth, travels down the entire shaft, and illuminates the bottom, creating a magical light effect not seen anywhere else in the region. Pinpointing the position, orientation, and angle of the shaft to perfectly align with the sun's annual movement is by no means easy. Notably, the Morelos region lies near the tropic, so capturing the zero shadow moment when the sun is perfectly perpendicular to the ground and objects cast no shadow is a scientific achievement requiring profound astronomical knowledge and the ability to make extremely precise measurements and construction. For ancient Mexican cultures, astronomical phenomena were not only important for determining agricultural seasons, but also played a central role in rituals and spiritual beliefs. The image of a beam of light descending from the sky into the heart of the earth held sacred meaning, symbolizing a direct connection between the sky gods and mortals. Many researchers believe that festivals for crop fertility, sacrificial rituals, or the most sacred events would take place around the time sunlight penetrated the shaft, when the sun visited the heart of the earth. The combination of astronomical, technical, and religious elements shows that the Xochicalco people were not only technologically proficient, but also deeply spiritual. What makes the Xochicalco astronomical shaft the subject of heated debate among archaeologists and modern engineers is precisely the enigma of its construction technique. How, with only the rudimentary tools of the 7th to 10th centuries, could ancient people drill through thick layers of limestone to create a nearly perfect vertical shaft, maintaining a uniform diameter from top to bottom without any deviation from true verticality? This task, even with modern equipment, would demand a precise combination of material science knowledge, accurate measurement capabilities, and intelligent construction planning. First, to cut, carve, and bore through limestone, the Xochicalco builders would have needed a thorough understanding of physical properties such as hardness, brittleness, and how to work the rock so as not to cause the shaft walls to collapse. Next, they had to determine the exact position and orientation of the shaft so that upon completion, the entire bore would align precisely with the path of sunlight on specific days of the year. This called for measurement and calculation skills rivaling any modern engineer. The tools they used were limited to stone, bone wood, or bronze, and yet the shaft walls remain smooth without major cracks, distortion, or collapse. Many theories suggest that the ancient builders excavated from the top down, continually measuring their progress and perhaps using wooden frames or hanging plumb lines to ensure vertical accuracy. Additionally, managing the massive amounts of rock debris, ensuring ventilation, and providing light within the narrow dark shaft would have posed serious challenges for any construction team. Notably, to this day, no physical evidence has been found to show that the people of Xochicalco used iron steel or any kind of special machinery. Geological surveys and archaeological traces all confirm this is the product of manual labor. Yet the sharpness and accuracy of the shaft still lead many scientists to hypothesize a special technique, a trade secret now lost to history. Besides explanations of its astronomical purpose, some researchers suggest that the Xochicalco shaft may have been used to observe planets like Venus or to record rare events such as solar eclipses, lunar eclipses, or comets. Some even propose symbolic meanings, considering the shaft a portal between the material and spiritual worlds, a place of interaction between sky, earth, and humans. However, no ancient text has been found that clearly states this function. All explanations remain speculative, based on site observations and architectural analysis. Today, the Xochicalco astronomical shaft draws thousands of scientists, tourists, and explorers. This structure is not only evidence of ancient astronomical knowledge, but also poses a major question about the limits of human capability in the absence of modern technology. Many engineers and archaeologists have tried to replicate the shaft excavation using primitive tools, but none have achieved the perfection of Xochicalco. The smoothness, verticality, and astronomical precision of the shaft remain unknowns. Did the ancients possess a special technique or a more sophisticated measuring system than we imagine? Or was it simply the product of perseverance, aided by a bit of luck and collective genius? Compared to other observatories like Newgrange, Ireland, Abu Simbel, Egypt, or Stonehenge, England, Xochicalco is smaller in scale, but its precision and the condensed nature of its astronomical and construction knowledge are equally impressive. Its simplicity, purity, and mystery force researchers to reconsider assumptions about the abstract reasoning, mathematics, and applied sciences of ancient Mexican civilizations. Even after more than 1,000 years, the Xochicalco astronomical shaft remains intact, continuing to inspire those who believe that human limitations only truly appear when we stop being curious and cease to explore. This structure is a reminder of the power of knowledge community cooperation and the desire to conquer the mysteries of the universe from ancient times. Xochicalco Astronomical Observatory Shaft. Mexico is not just an archaeological structure or an ancient astronomical lens. It is a living testament to timeless engineering, intelligence, perseverance, and the creativity of humanity. Each time sunlight penetrates the shaft and travels through the ages, it reminds us of a profound question. How could the ancients accomplish such extraordinary feats? And perhaps as long as the secret of Xochicalco's construction techniques remains unsolved, it will continue to deserve its place as one of humanity's most fascinating mysteries. Amidst the arid lands of southern Arabia, where the modern city of Aden stretches beneath the slopes of the Shamsun volcano, lies a nearly forgotten marvel, the ancient rainwater cisterns known as the Aden cisterns. Regarded as one of the most impressive hydraulic megasystems of antiquity, this construction was not only a vital solution for residents to survive in a harsh environment, but also a great challenge for archaeologists, engineers, and historians due to its mysterious engineering. After many millennia, the Aden cisterns still retain their enigmatic aura, standing as both a testament to ancient ingenuity and a symbol of unanswered questions. What do you think is the most mysterious aspect of the Aden cisterns construction techniques? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Aden has long been an important crossroads between the Indian Ocean, Africa, and the Arabian Peninsula. Yet Aden's special geography, right on the coast, but nearly lacking any stable freshwater source, plagued by arid climate and erratic rainfall, posed an immense challenge for any community that ever settled there. Only a few heavy rains would come each year, and without proper storage, this precious water would simply rush into the sea, along with mud and debris, leaving the city parched and waterless for extended periods. It was out of this context that the Aden cisterns were born, not just as a collection of ordinary storage tanks, but as a complex, highly efficient network of reservoirs, channels, and dams. So remarkable is this system's scale, organization, and long-term vision that many generations have marveled at what the ancients achieved. According to archaeological studies and ancient records, the Aden cisterns once comprised from 50 to more than 100 large and small tanks arranged in tiers along the slopes of Mount Shamsun. Each tank was hewn deep into volcanic basalt, linked together through a system of water channels, spillways, and silt dams, forming a closed, self-contained hydraulic ecosystem. Unlike the typical water storage constructions of antiquity, which often used materials like fired brick limestone or wood, the Aden tanks were primarily carved straight into the hard basalt bedrock, with thick walls, deep bases, and extraordinary resistance to both water infiltration and flooding. This system enabled the collection of nearly all rainwater from the mountain gullies during the short rainy season, gradually filtering water through the tanks for sedimentation and natural purification before it reached the last reservoir for domestic or agricultural use. The mysterious construction techniques of the Aden cisterns remain a major challenge for modern science and are also the main reason why this ancient system continues to captivate researchers. Most of the cisterns were carved deep into volcanic basalt, one of the hardest types of rock, still extremely difficult to work with even today. Yet their walls are covered with a special light-colored mortar, polished smooth and adhering tightly to the stone, making the cisterns nearly completely waterproof for thousands of years. The exact composition of this mortar has not yet been determined. Chemical analyses reveal a mixture of sand-crushed basalt, possibly lime, and traces of organic additives such as plant resin or egg white, but the ratios and production techniques remain a secret. This special mortar not only prevents water infiltration, but also stops sedimentation and protects the basalt from erosion. Something even many modern constructions find difficult to achieve. Equally astonishing is the precision with which the cisterns and water channels were arranged across the complex mountainous terrain. Every slope, water flow direction, and cistern depth was meticulously calculated so that rainwater would naturally flow to the large cisterns at the top first, then travel down through channels to smaller cisterns below, gradually filtering sediment, regulating volume, and controlling flooding. When heavy rains occurred, the cisterns and overflow channels would actively relieve pressure, preventing floods from sweeping mud and debris into the city. Even a small error in calculating slope or connecting channels could render the whole system ineffective, showing that the builders must have possessed deep understanding of hydraulics, topography, and practical construction techniques. The methods used for drilling, cutting, and shaping basalt are also full of mystery. Although none of the original tools remain, the Aden cisterns still have sharp edges, right angles, flat bases, and straight, even walls. Evidence suggests that the ancients used a combination of metal tools, possibly bronze or crude iron, along with heating and rapid cooling techniques to fracture the stone, and some cisterns even feature simple carved motifs, revealing that their purpose was not only practical but also carried aesthetic or spiritual elements. Moreover, the overall planning of this system is also hard to explain. Such a large and interconnected network could not have been carried out by small, spontaneous groups, but must have had a master plan coordinated construction and phased implementation far beyond what we imagine of ancient social organization in this region. Some scholars believe Aden was once the center of a great hydraulic civilization, gathering engineers, builders, and specialists from many different lands. Others theorize that the cisterns are just part of an underground hydraulic network still buried deep beneath the earth. Perhaps the most miraculous thing is the system's durability through the centuries, despite natural disasters, earthquakes, and floods. Many cisterns still retain their shape function and water-holding capacity, only damaged in places that were buried or destroyed by war and urbanization. Traces of maintenance, such as patched cistern walls, new waterproof layers, and expanded channels show that the ancients not only built these marvels, but also mastered optimal maintenance methods and had a profound understanding of the entire system's operation. To this day, scientists still cannot definitively determine who was the first to build the Aden cisterns. Some scholars believe that this structure was created by the ancient Himyarite people, while others think the system is even older, possibly dating back as far as 3,000 years. The exact formula of the waterproof mortar remains a mystery. Despite being studied many times, samples taken from Aden show unique chemical and physical characteristics clearly different from mortars found in ancient Egypt, Rome, or Persia. The techniques used to drill, cut, and shape basalt with such precision are also a source of great confusion, as it seems nearly impossible to achieve the current level of perfection using only the tools available during the Iron Age or Bronze Age. Furthermore, no one knows how many cisterns and auxiliary structures remain buried underground, waiting to be discovered. Radar images indicate the presence of many subterranean structures around the Aden area, but so far they have not been thoroughly investigated due to urbanization and security concerns. Today, the Aden cisterns are not only a source of inspiration for archaeologists and hydraulic engineers, but also a living testament to ancient ingenuity. However, the risks of urbanization, neglect, pollution, and forgetfulness have left many tanks seriously degraded. If not studied, restored, and preserved properly, the Aden cisterns may one day be lost, along with secrets never revealed, becoming the Atlantis of Yemen's desert in human memory. The Aden cisterns are a vivid proof of human creativity, advanced engineering, and unyielding spirit in the battle for survival against harsh nature. At the same time, they symbolize mysteries that have yet to be answered, from the superhuman waterproof mortar basalt quarrying techniques to the organization and maintenance of the system over thousands of years. It may take many more generations for modern science to gradually unlock the complete answers to the enigmatic engineering of the Aden cisterns, one of the greatest and most mysterious hydraulic wonders ever created by humanity. Stretching across the barren stone plateaus of southern Mauritania, hidden within the endless sands of the Sahara, lie the remains of one of the oldest and most mysterious urban civilizations in Africa, the stone cities of Tichitt-Walata. These mortarless stone walls, abandoned ancient streets, and solid stone granaries have stood since nearly 45 centuries ago, when Egypt was still building its pyramids, and when great civilizations such as Ghana or Mali had not yet emerged. But it was also here around the 5th century BCE that an entire society suddenly disappeared, leaving behind countless questions that to this day archaeologists have yet to answer. What do you think about this strange disappearance? Might there still be secrets buried beneath the sand? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. Tichitt-Walata was not merely a collection of scattered villages. It was a true urban network, with thousands of houses, city walls, granaries, shrines, all constructed from tightly fitted slate without mortar. Their existence proves that right in the midst of this harsh desert, there was once a highly developed society that could organize communities, manage agriculture and collective food storage, create defensive systems, and perform complex religious rituals. Especially notable are the traces of walls that stretch hundreds of meters, rising as high as 4 meters, standing firm for millennia, astonishing scientists with the technical prowess and organizational sophistication of prehistoric West Africa. Given the desert climate, transporting and stacking millions of stones, both large and small, to build an entire city seems almost unimaginable. The architectural structures of Tichitt-Walata, Dar Akrajit, and others all employed the dry stone method, using no cement, no binding mortar. Yet these constructions have survived through the ages. Houses were arranged in small urban clusters with living quarters, granaries, watchtowers, and defensive walls. Especially remarkable are the enormous stone grain stores, proving this was once a center of agricultural production, a true marvel amid the arid, semi-desert environment. Archaeological research at Tichitt-Walata reveals a surprisingly advanced social structure evident through remains of spacious stone houses, communal granaries, and large ceremonial spaces. These features point to a society capable of collective planning, resource mobilization, and organized food storage far beyond what many associate with prehistoric West Africa. Yet an enduring mystery remains. How did these ancient people transport and precisely assemble such immense stone blocks? No evidence of metal tools, neither bronze nor iron, has been found from this era. The methods by which they quarried, shaped, and fitted these stones with such accuracy, using only stone or organic implements, is a puzzle that continues to baffle archaeologists and raises profound questions about lost technologies and forgotten skills. Despite being located in the desert, the people of Tichitt developed agriculture, particularly the cultivation of pearl millet, one of the earliest proofs of farming in Africa. Millet grains the bones of domesticated animals, cattle, sheep, goats, and stone tools used in farming show that their subsistence relied mainly on cultivation and animal husbandry. Yet what baffles scientists is, how did they maintain agriculture in a land so scarce in water with no evidence of large-scale irrigation systems? Some theories suggest that the Tichitt-Walata region was once greener than it is today, but climatic data remains a matter of debate. On the stone walls, caves, and boulders around Tichitt-Walata, archaeologists have found countless strange engravings, human figures, animals, abstract symbols, circles, sun-like motifs. Many carvings depict cattle, antelopes, and zebras, animals that no longer inhabit the Sahara, suggesting that the environment back then was vastly different from today. Some symbols have never been seen elsewhere in the world, hinting at a lost belief system, rituals, or astronomical knowledge now completely forgotten. All those wonders now remain only as ruins because around the year 500 BCE, the civilization of Tichitt-Walata suddenly vanished. The greatest question is, why did such a large-scale, tightly organized society with advanced building techniques and developed agriculture abruptly fall into oblivion, leaving behind no records or great legends? The most common theory is climate change. Around that time, the Sahara began to experience extreme aridity, with rivers and lakes drying up and vegetation vanishing, turning the whole region into a scorching sea of sand. This transformation lasted for centuries, gradually draining the water and rendering the land uncultivable, forcing people to abandon once bustling stone cities. Yet many scientists ask if climate was the only reason. Why did smaller communities around the area still survive? Could there have been other more complex causes? Some believe that epidemics or conflicts, either internal or with external groups, may have contributed to Tichitt-Walata's downfall. However, archaeology has found no evidence of major warfare, widespread destruction, or massive fires. Some signs suggest that part of the population migrated southward to the Niger River region, helping to form the later great kingdoms of Ghana and Mali. But the question persists. What could have caused them to abandon their entire system of sturdy stone cities, burying centuries of effort in the sand? Unlike the collapse of many other civilizations like the Maya Egypt or Rome, Tichitt-Walata's disappearance happened quietly, without legend, without epic tales, without direct heirs. This silence deepens the haunting sense of a forgotten stone civilization, a stark reminder of the fragility of human societies in the face of nature's power, unpredictable climate shifts, and even their own internal challenges. Though vanished, the imprint of Tichitt-Walata still quietly flows through West African history. Some scholars argue that communities migrating from Tichitt-Walata brought with them stone construction skills, stone art, agricultural knowledge, and systems of social organization to the Niger River Valley, laying the foundation for the later ancient kingdoms of Ghana and Mali. The modern Soninke people are considered distant descendants of this civilization, although the exact links in terms of genetics, language, and culture remain an unsolved mystery. To this day, most of Tichitt-Walata remains unexcavated due to the harsh desert conditions and lack of research resources. Many secrets may still lie deep beneath the sand-engraved texts, artifacts, or even ancient tombs yet untouched. Each season, the desert winds erase a little more of what remains, making the task of decoding their disappearance ever more difficult. Tichitt-Walata is often likened to the Atlantis of the Sahara, a once glorious civilization that vanished without a farewell. Their silent stone ruins stand as a powerful reminder, no matter how great the achievements, if faced with natural upheaval or internal crises and unable to adapt, they can be lost to oblivion. Many researchers believe that Tichitt-Walata is proof of a golden age for sub-Saharan civilizations before they were swept away by time and desertification. Each stone, every wall tells an unfinished story of human creativity, resilience, and vulnerability in the face of nature. More than 4 millennia have passed, yet Tichitt-Walata remains an unsolved mystery. What inspired them to build these stone cities in the desert? How did they sustain agriculture and survive for centuries? And most importantly, what happened that caused this entire society to vanish into the sands, leaving behind cold, lonely walls amidst the vast Sahara? Will the secrets behind the disappearance of Tichitt-Walata ever be unraveled, or will they remain a silent warning about the fragility of all human civilizations? When mapping out humanity's greatest ancient achievements, most of us think immediately of Egypt's immense pyramids, the colossal stone walls of South America, or China's legendary Great Wall. But hidden among the lush forests of southwestern Nigeria lies an astonishing structure, Sungbo's Eredo, built entirely from earth. Despite being comparable in size to the world's most celebrated wonders, this earthen fortification, stretching over 160 kilometers and rising from 6 to 21 meters high, remains a mystery to most people on the planet. Its massive scale and the unanswered questions it poses have long challenged scientists who built this monument. What truly motivated its construction? And how did people of the distant past organize and accomplish such a feat with the limited means of their era? What do you think is the real reason behind the construction of Sungbo's Eredo? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Discovered and thoroughly surveyed more towards the end of the 20th century, Sungbo's Eredo quickly stunned scholars. With its scale, the total amount of earth excavated and piled is estimated to exceed 3.5 million cubic meters, even more than the volume of stone used for the legendary Great Pyramid of Giza. The system comprises vertical earthen walls wide and deep moats stretching continuously, crossing treacherous terrain, linking hilly areas, rivers, swamps, and dense forests. All the evidence shows this was not just a technically advanced construction, but a social and organizational achievement never before seen in ancient West Africa. However, the greatest mystery does not lie in how it was built, but rather in the question, why was there a need to construct such a long, high, and sturdy system of earthen walls? The real purpose of Sungbo's Eredo over the centuries remains almost completely unknown, intertwined with legends, conflicting theories, fragmented archaeological findings, and endless debates among researchers. The first major theory often mentioned is that Sungbo's Eredo served as a gigantic military defense system. The deep moat's tall, vertical earthen walls, stretching for hundreds of kilometers, formed a natural protective ring around the ancient Ijebu kingdom, preventing outside invasions and safeguarding residents from attacks. Some sections of the wall have special entrances allowing for movement control and enhanced defense. If this theory is correct, Sungbo's Eredo stands as a vivid testament to strategic thinking, organizational skills, workforce mobilization, and communal resource use at a level never seen before in West African history, perhaps even worldwide in the ancient era. However, there are many doubts. Certain wall segments run through dangerous terrain, cross large rivers, swamps, and areas with little risk of attack, making it hard to believe that this was purely a defense system. Additionally, archaeological studies show the local people did not always live in a fixed area to require such a strong fortress system. The second equally fascinating theory is that Sungbo's Eredo played a special religious or ceremonial role tied to legends about Queen Sungbo, a mythical figure highly revered by locals and possibly linked to the image of the famous Queen of Sheba in biblical stories. According to this, the earth wall system was built to protect the tomb or relics associated with Sungbo, or served in large-scale religious rituals expressing spiritual authority and the communal power of the local people. Some sections are extraordinarily thick and sturdy, and there are traces of religious gatherings and sacrificial rituals that support this theory. However, there has not been a specific archaeological find, such as a major temple special tomb relic or artifacts directly tied to religion, leaving this approach full of uncertainties. Additionally, some suggest that Sungbo's Eredo could have been a gigantic geographical administrative boundary used to assert territorial sovereignty control movement between communities and tribes, or serve for tax collection, population coordination, and resource management. The system acts as a declaration of power, demonstrating the supreme authority of the ruler of the Ijebu kingdom or another major civilization in the region. The wall sections cut through villages, farmlands, and pristine forests, clearly separating different lands, lending further support to this theory. Yet considering the scale investment of labor and technology far surpasses what would be necessary for mere administrative management, raising a huge question about the real driving force behind it. It is impossible not to mention the technical aspect when talking about Sungbo's Eredo. Without modern machinery, using only primitive tools, ancient people excavated, transported, and piled up millions of cubic meters of earth, forming straight, even, and durable walls. They had to precisely calculate the slope load-bearing capacity of the earth, hydrological factors, and prevent erosion, especially as the structure crosses many complex terrains like hills, rivers, and swamps. Some modern researchers see this as clear evidence of a highly organized society, smart division of labor, and deep knowledge of geology, irrigation, and construction on par with other great civilizations of the era. However, strangely apart from Sungbo's Eredo, there are almost no other large relics or structures left to help decode more about life, society, culture, or the reasons for the technical explosion in this area at that time. One haunting aspect for researchers is that Sungbo's Eredo was almost forgotten for centuries, despite its massive scale, until modern surveys rediscovered it in the 1990s. Local people still pass down many mysterious stories about Queen Sungbo, said to have led the construction or is even the spirit guarding the land. Some scholars believe Sungbo's Eredo is the only remaining physical evidence of a legendary figure who once shook West Africa and might be the prototype for the Queen of Sheba in Jewish, Arab, and Ethiopian cultures. But so far, there is no solid evidence to confirm this. There are so many questions about Sungbo's Eredo that remain unresolved. Why would an ancient West African civilization need such a colossal construction? For defense, religion, social control, or some deeper reason? Did it really protect territory from invading forces, or was it merely a symbol of power? Why, after so many centuries, aside from vague legends and these massive earthen walls, are there not more material, cultural remains of comparable scale? Perhaps this is only the visible part of a once brilliant civilization that later vanished from human history, leaving to posterity questions with no answer. Moreover, Sungbo's Eredo raises significant heritage, conservation issues. Many wall segments have been destroyed by agriculture, earth extraction, or uncontrolled urbanization, while archaeological research and preservation are still very limited. If prompt action is not taken, the remaining mysteries of Sungbo's Eredo may be forever buried under the red earth of Nigeria, eternally a major question mark in human history. Sungbo's Eredo is not just a massive earthen structure, it stands as a symbol of ancient creativity and power. Even today, these sprawling earth walls in the forests of West Africa remain a major challenge for all researchers. Why was this wonder built? What was its true purpose, and what meaning does it hold for future generations? As long as these questions go unanswered, Sungbo's Eredo will continue to spark curiosity and the desire to explore the origins of ancient civilizations. This monument reminds us that history still holds countless mysteries yet to be revealed, and that every great wonder preserves not only material value, but also the spiritual and cultural treasures of an entire people. When people mention Bulgaria, many will immediately recall the magnificent monasteries perched atop high mountains, the ancient Roman fortresses, or the mysterious relics of the Thracians. Yet nestled quietly within Bulgaria's countryside, veiled by old forests and sheer limestone cliffs, lies a peculiar sight that few have heard of: Ravna rock-cut sanctuary, a labyrinth of stone shrouded in mystery, which remains an immense challenge for archaeologists, historians, and anyone eager to unravel the secrets of humanity's distant past. What do you think was the true purpose of the Ravna rock-cut sanctuary? Let us know your ideas in the comments. From the very first steps into this sanctuary, visitors are struck by the towering cold stone walls intersected by narrow passageways, tiny niches, and enclosed chambers meticulously carved with astonishing precision. The entire structure is not a product of natural caves, but of ancient human hands, using tools and techniques that no one today has been able to replicate perfectly. Inside Ravna, the space unfolds as a true labyrinth. Narrow corridors connect chambers of varying size and shape. Some rooms are so small that only a single person could sit and meditate or pray. Others are much larger, seemingly intended for gatherings or special rituals. Stairs, storage niches, small wells, and mysterious windows appear in places that seem random, yet somehow hint at a deliberate logic and deeper meaning, a silent code engraved in stone. One of the greatest mysteries surrounding the Ravna rock-cut sanctuary is determining the true age of this structure. There are no official historical records documenting its existence or construction, nor are there any characteristic symbols from any familiar ancient civilization found in the surrounding area. Archaeological artifacts discovered here are extremely scarce, only a few broken pottery shards and fragments which are not sufficient to accurately date the site. Some researchers relying on architectural styles and remaining traces boldly suggest that Ravna may have been formed in the early Common Era or even earlier. However, the numerous patches of mortar, the various stone carvings, and evidence of architectural changes over the centuries all indicate that this place was used, continuously repurposed, and eventually abandoned by countless generations. It is precisely this complex overlapping process of change and reuse that makes the story of Ravna all the more intricate and obscure. Who was the first to carve out this labyrinth of stone? Where did they come from, and why did they choose such an isolated remote location to build such a strange and enigmatic structure? Among the hundreds of questions posed by Ravna Sanctuary, the most enduring is always, what was the original purpose and true function of this place? This is the topic of the most debate among researchers, and the central focus of every survey study and scientific hypothesis. There are three main theories regarding the purpose of Ravna Sanctuary, but none fully explains every unique feature of this construction. The most common hypothesis is that Ravna was once a monastery or a refuge for early Christian communities in Bulgaria, especially during periods of severe religious persecution. This is based on a few traces of crosses, altar-like stone niches, and the site's remote location, all suited to a spirit of seclusion, evading the reach of authorities or foreign forces. Many of the small chambers resemble monks' cells, where each individual could cultivate solitude. The quiet space with sunlight filtering through narrow gaps creates a sacred atmosphere perfect for religious contemplation. However, the abundance of strange symbols chambers that do not follow conventional monastery layouts and the lack of typical Christian iconography make this hypothesis less than fully convincing. Some archaeologists and scholars of symbolism have noticed large ceremonial halls, stone altars offering niches and deeply carved geometric motifs, or mysterious patterns on the walls, all elements commonly found in mystical religious centers or places for secret pre-Christian rites. Unusual acoustic phenomena such as echoes, resonance of the human voice, and special sound qualities during chanting suggests that the place was designed for communal rituals or perhaps mysterious ceremonies involving sound light or altered states of consciousness. Some researchers even boldly link Ravna to other rock-cut ceremonial centers in Egypt, Turkey, and the Caucasus, places that once served as the nerve centers of ancient religions, blending local beliefs, mysticism, and arcane magic. Another line of explanation focuses on the site's defensive character. Ravna sits in isolation, away from major roots carved deep into the rock, a perfect location for hiding or safeguarding precious things. Some chambers have no obvious entrance. Some vaults resemble storerooms, and there are stone doors that could be sealed from the inside. It could have served as a refuge for persecuted groups, perhaps criminals, fugitives, or tiny religious sects. Alternatively, Ravna may once have been a secret archive for ancient manuscripts, valuables, or even an underground bank for mysterious communities, all traces of which have faded with time. To this day, there has been no large-scale excavation or comprehensive archaeological report sufficient to confirm any of the above theories. The sheer number of chambers whose function remains unclear, the diversity of shapes, sizes, and odd layouts combined with scattered undeciphered symbols and emblems turn this site into a true stone riddle. Stepping into Ravna feels like wandering into an ancient book, with most of its pages erased. Each wall niche, carved symbol, and shadowed corner is a missing fragment of history. Perhaps this place once witnessed countless secret pilgrimages, rituals reserved for the enlightened, or perhaps simply the story of a small community choosing to disappear into the forested hills, leaving behind a legacy for future generations to eternally wonder about. Another aspect that adds to Ravna's enigma is the symbols, motifs, and strange carvings that appear unexpectedly on wall ceilings and even the stone floor. Not fitting any known system of writing or traditional symbols set, these drawings evoke a mix of religious, cryptic, and perhaps deeply personal or tribal meanings now lost to history. Some chambers contain deeply carved marks, as if they once recorded significant events, preserved secrets, or conveyed messages to future generations. In particular, there is one chamber where sunlight only enters on the summer solstice or on sacred days, further supporting the theory that the site was used for ceremonial or ancient astronomical purposes. The unique spatial design and acoustic properties of Ravna are impossible to overlook. In some rooms, a spoken word echoes unusually far or converges at a single point, suited to chanting invocations or simply the privacy of individual users. Some chambers are designed so that only when the sun reaches a certain position does light penetrate to the room's heart, creating a mystical visual effect and awakening a sacred feeling in those present. It is no coincidence that Ravna Sanctuary was built in such a remote spot, far from settlements and not on any main trade route. This suggests its creators either wanted utmost secrecy or simply sought maximum peace and safety for their activities. This isolation makes researchers believe Ravna was better suited as a hermitage, a place for secret religious practice, or a hideout during turbulent times. Ravna Rock Cut Sanctuary. Bulgaria will continue to challenge the imagination and decoding abilities of humankind. Its true function and original purpose, whether sacred, secretive, practical, or all at once, remain tightly locked within cold stone by the passage of time. Perhaps only when the final symbols are deciphered and the hidden chambers are thoroughly explored will we at last uncover the real story behind these silent stone walls. On the barren land where endless winds sweep the Muzat River Valley in western Xinjiang, China, amid fiery red cliffs that stand out against the sky, there exists one of the most mysterious ancient Buddhist heritage complexes in Asia, the Kizil cave monastery system. This is not only the oldest Buddhist cave system in China, but also a treasure trove of cultural heritage, filled with countless unanswered questions, especially who truly built this masterpiece. Who do you think truly built the Kizil cave monastery system? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Kizil stands as one of the clearest testimonies to the cultural and religious fusion between East and West on the ancient Silk Road. Yet for more than 1,500 years, a single mystery has eluded a thorough explanation. Who is the real master, the hand that created this cave complex? Archaeological evidence shows that the Kizil system began to be carved as early as the 3rd century, or perhaps even earlier. At that time, this land was the meeting point for countless caravans, scholars, monks, a place where Buddhism, art, philosophy, and commerce converged more powerfully than ever. Yet there is not a single ancient document or inscription at Kizil that clearly states the name of a king, monk, or ethnic group as the founder. Kizil comprises more than 230 caves, large and small, stretching along nearly 2 kilometers of vertical cliff faces. Each cave bears very different artistic and architectural signatures following no fixed standard. Inside these caves, vibrant murals, Buddha statues, scriptures, and even ancient manuscripts have been discovered, most bearing strange blends: Gandhara style, Hellenistic art, Persian motifs, Indian Central Asian, all blend into a unique visual language, unlike anything else. The most controversial detail: many murals at Kizil depict characters with blonde hair, blue eyes, clothing, and musical instruments marked by Western traits, unlike traditional Chinese Buddhist art of the same era. Such images have led many researchers to believe that at least Western or ancient Central Asian peoples were involved in the creation of this complex. Additionally, there are inscriptions and ancient texts, many in Tocharian, Brahmi, Sogdian, even Old Persian, interwoven and not yet fully deciphered. This diversity further thickens the mystery of the true owner of Kizil. When discussing the mystery of who truly built the Kizil cave system, researchers have proposed three major hypotheses, each offering a unique perspective on the region's complex history of cultural interplay. The first is the Tocharian hypothesis, which has gained much support from Western scholars. The Tocharians are believed to have been an Indo-European-speaking people who once inhabited the Tarim Basin. They bore distinctive features of the ancient West, such as blonde hair, blue eyes, and unique clothing traits that are clearly depicted in many murals within the Kizil caves. Furthermore, the discovery of numerous ancient manuscripts in the Tocharian language around the site adds weight to this argument. However, to this day, there is still no absolute evidence confirming that the Tocharians were the sole builders, as the artistic and cultural traces also show influences from many other civilizations. The second hypothesis, favored by many Chinese scholars, suggests that Kizil was the result of collaboration among local Buddhist kingdoms such as Kucha and Turpan. During their periods of prosperity, these kingdoms were important centers for translating and spreading Buddhist scriptures from India into China. Renowned monks and translators like Kumarajiva once worked here, helping Buddhism take root in the region. According to this hypothesis, Kizil did not belong to a single owner, but was rather the cumulative result of many communities under the patronage of local kings, reflecting the diversity and dynamic interactions of societies along the Silk Road. The third hypothesis, multi-ethnic cultural convergence, highlights Kizil's role as a crossroads where streams of art and religion intersected, from Indian and Persian artists and monks, Sogdians, Tocharians, to Chinese caravans, and even Hellenistic influences after the era of Alexander the Great. This convergence created a polyphonic masterpiece with no boundaries of ethnicity or language, demonstrating the unifying and ever-creative power of the ancient Silk Road. Thanks to this diversity, the true origins of Kizil remain a grand mystery to this day, continually sparking curiosity and debate among scholars worldwide. One of the main reasons Kizil's origin remains a mystery is the lack of direct historical records and conclusive archaeological evidence. Ancient Chinese chronicles, though mentioning kingdoms like Kucha and Kashgar, do not specify who directed the construction or when the caves were started. Moreover, in the 19th and 20th centuries, many Western archaeological expeditions took hundreds of artifacts, murals, scriptures, which are now scattered across major museums in Berlin, London, Tokyo, St. Petersburg. This loss and dispersal have disrupted holistic research, making the Kizil puzzle increasingly fragmented and hard to piece together. Another reason stems from the mysterious disappearance of the Tocharians. In the 9th to 10th centuries, no one knows why they were assimilated, abandoned the ancient cities along the Tarim, and why their heritage was forgotten. The Tocharian language also vanished, becoming a key, still locked to linguists, further shrouding Kizil's secret in mist. From a modern perspective, the Kizil cave monastery system is not just a religious site, but also a black box of history, marking the encounters of civilizations. Each mural, each scripture, each architectural detail at Kizil is like a piece of a puzzle that every generation of archaeologists, artists, linguists attempts to assemble, yet no one has ever completed the final picture. Because the founding hand cannot be identified, Kizil becomes a symbol of borderless creative power, where strangers from different cultures and races jointly sought the sacred and left enduring marks, even as their real identities faded into oblivion. Beyond the mystery of the true founder, Kizil also astounds researchers with its mural art. Vivid colors, preserved for thousands of years thanks to coloring and preservation techniques not yet fully understood. The caves are carved deep into the red cliffs with natural ventilation systems ensuring airflow, preventing dampness and fading in the extremely harsh desert climate of the western regions. Many caves contain hidden chambers, secret passages, areas never excavated, and some remain sealed. Some caves house atypical murals depicting daily life, warfare, religion, with mythic coloring as if recounting stories of a lost civilization whose only trace remains on the rock walls. Over time, with arid climate, earthquakes, and human intervention, many artistic details at Kizil are fading rapidly. The number of intact caves dwindles with each passing day. Many artifacts have been removed or smuggled abroad. Preservation work faces many challenges due to lack of original documentation, economic and technical conditions, and even international disputes over heritage ownership. Yet precisely because so many mysteries remain unsolved, Kizil continues to inspire curiosity and generations of researchers, travelers, history, and art lovers. It remains an unsolved code of the past, a reminder of what humanity has lost, and a powerful message about the enduring vitality of cultural creativity, even as its origins remain forever a question with no answer. In the arid lands of the West African Sahel, where the desert and the Niger River blend to create a landscape both harsh and magnificent, there stands a remarkable structure not only for its scale, but for its cultural depth and layers of mystery. The Great Mosque of Djenné. For centuries, this mosque has been the beating heart of ancient Djenné, a symbol of faith, artistry, and the extraordinary resilience of the local community against unforgiving nature. Yet beneath those rough layers of earth and mud lie unanswered questions about its construction, about the fusion of tradition, innovation, and even a touch of magic that to this day no one has truly deciphered. What do you find most mysterious about the construction of the Great Mosque of Djenné? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The present-day Great Mosque of Djenné is the result of many generations of construction, demolition, and continuous rebuilding. According to local legends, the very first structure was built in the 13th century under King Khoi Konboro, who turned Djenné into a center of Islamic learning. Through major renovations, especially in the year 1834 and 1907, the mosque's appearance and structure changed greatly, making its true origins even more obscure. Construction records were never written down, but only passed on orally among generations of skilled masons, making it extremely difficult for researchers to discover the true original. Anyone setting foot in Djenné cannot help but marvel at the scale and soulful beauty of this mosque. Measuring 75 meters in length, 75 meters in width, and nearly 20 meters in height, this is the largest mud structure in the world. Its three main towers soar skyward, crowned with conical tops, adorned by ostrich eggs, symbols of life strength and indigenous spiritual belief. All around are hundreds of pillars, domes, and doorways featuring bold geometric shapes, combining Islamic aesthetics with West African identity. Yet what truly sets the Great Mosque of Djenné apart is not just its external appearance, but the mysteries concealed behind those thick clay walls, construction techniques still without a complete answer. From ancient times, the people of the Sahel developed adobe construction, making the most of their climate and local resources. However, the way the Djenné Mosque was built far surpassed ordinary standards, even challenging modern science. The main material is mud bricks made from river clay water and finely chopped straw. After mixing, the blend is poured into wooden molds, then sun-dried in the blazing Sahel until hardened. These bricks are not only cheap and durable, but also provide outstanding insulation, keeping the inside cool in summer and warm in winter. The outer plaster is made from a similar but more flexible mixture, allowing every gap to be sealed, keeping rain out and protecting the structure from cracks. But the greatest mystery lies in the Toron system. Hard wooden beams, often from palm trees, about 60 to 90 centimeters long, jutting out from the walls in long rows encircling the building. Generations of scholars have debated their purpose. Are they just decoration, a skeleton to reinforce the walls, or do they help with thermal expansion and contraction? There is still no consensus. The only certainty is that Toron act as natural ladders for annual maintenance and repair. What truly makes the Great Mosque immortal is the tradition of annual maintenance. Once a year during the rainy season, the entire Djenné community comes together for the plastering festival Crépissage de la Grande Mosquée. Thousands of people, from children to elders, participate in mixing and applying mud, patching cracks, reinforcing walls, and renewing the outer layer. This is not only architectural preservation, but also a community celebration, a secret recipe passed down to help the structure withstand centuries of harsh weather. Western experts who have observed this process are often astonished. Despite using seemingly fragile materials, the Great Mosque of Djenné stands firm against time, rain, and even minor earthquakes. Scientific models have not been able to fully replicate the durability of Djenné's mud walls when combined with the unique Toron special mud bricks and local plaster. Some theories suggest there may be secret formulas or special processes that are only taught orally within the community, never documented or shared with outsiders. Moreover, the interior spatial arrangement also intrigues researchers. Corridors, prayer rooms, ventilation, and lighting are all cleverly organized to regulate climate, minimizing the effects of heat, humidity, and rain. While the exterior looks simple, inside is a sophisticated technical network rivaling the great stone monuments of Egypt or Persia in climatic efficiency. Yet all design documents are missing, passed down only through practice. The Great Mosque of Djenné is not just a physical structure, but also the spiritual, educational, and commercial center of the city. For the local people, it is the soul of Djenné, closely tied to many legends about charms and treasures buried beneath its foundations to protect the mosque. Strict rules allowing only local Muslims to enter add to its mystery, leading to much speculation about hidden secrets and spaces beneath the layers of mud. In recent years, Djenné's mosque faces growing threats. Heavy rain, unusual floods, and weather changes due to climate change make the mud walls more prone to cracking and subsidence than ever. Even as the annual plastering festival continues, some experts worry that if traditional knowledge and techniques are not systematically recorded and studied, they may be lost or insufficient to handle new extremes. There have been times when international conservation organizations warned just one unusual rainy season could cause serious damage, even risking partial collapse. This makes questions about Djenné's construction methods ever more urgent. Are there undiscovered secrets, special mud mixtures, Toron treatments, or wall and foundation arrangements that help the building resist harsh weather for centuries? Researchers keep searching for answers, but the true secrets may forever lie in the memories and experience of local master builders. Beyond all the architectural splendor, the Great Mosque of Djenné is a reminder that the mysteries of the past and seemingly simple achievements can sometimes surpass modern understanding, while answers to its construction techniques remain unfinished, and the tradition of mud plastering and community cooperation remains the key to survival. This mosque will forever be an enigma, challenging scholars and an inexhaustible inspiration about the enduring power of indigenous culture through all the changes of time. Standing proudly atop a rugged hill overlooking the entire Quebrada de Humahuaca Valley, the Tilcara Pukara Cliff Fortress is not only a representative archaeological site of northern Argentina, but also one of the most debated and mysterious ancient stone structures in South America. This fortress, built by the Omaguaca people, a native civilization that once flourished before being overshadowed by the expansion of the Inca Empire and later the Spanish, encapsulates within its stones countless unresolved questions about construction techniques, spiritual culture, and the ultimate fate of those who once called this place home. What do you think happened to the people of Tilcara Pukara? Share your theories in the comments below. Pukara de Tilcara is far from an ordinary stronghold. Perched atop a towering rocky outcrop beside the Rio Grande, where two rivers merge and open up a panoramic view of the entire Quebrada, this location alone speaks volumes about the extraordinary strategic foresight of the Omaguaca people. From the summit, every movement in the valley below could be monitored and controlled with ease. The Quebrada de Humahuaca Valley has long served as a natural crossroads linking South American civilizations, as well as a vital trade and military route connecting the Andes to the lowlands, a key stop along the legendary Inca road that traversed the continent. For centuries, Tilcara Pukara was therefore a critical center for defense control and trade. Anyone setting foot in Tilcara cannot help but be amazed by the remarkable stonework achieved by the ancients. The entire fortress was constructed from large stones meticulously stacked together without mortar, a technique reminiscent of many ancient Andean monuments like Sacsayhuaman or Machu Picchu. The fortress walls, residential quarters, temples, and storage areas are all arranged in a logical manner, forming a structure both robust and harmoniously integrated with the harsh natural landscape. Beyond its military function, Tilcara Pukara also served as an administrative and religious center for the Omaguaca people. Numerous ceremonial areas, carved rocks, and small temples scattered across the fortress's summit reflect a profound spiritual life. Some buildings resemble tombs and were constructed in mysterious ways, with their precise functions still undetermined. The Omaguaca were the original builders of this fortress, renowned for their organizational abilities and construction skills. When the Inca Empire expanded southward, they took over reinforced and extended the existing Omaguaca structures. Under Inca rule, Tilcara Pukara became even more formidable, acting as the southern gateway of the empire, controlling trade, military movements, and even cultural and religious influence. Over the centuries, the blend of architecture, art, and belief systems from both the Omaguaca and the Incas created a unique heritage still evident in the archaeological finds, carved motifs, and mysterious religious ceremonies that have been passed down to the present day. A wealth of unusual artifacts has been excavated at Tilcara, from stone masks, figurines, ritual tools, to rare metal jewelry. Some objects display a distinctive artistic style, different from neighboring cultures, raising the possibility of trade links or influences from far-flung civilizations within the Andes. The ritual items unearthed here suggest the ancient inhabitants practiced complex ceremonies involving worship of local deities, offerings, or even transition rituals for the deceased. However, most of these artifacts offer more questions than answers. To this day, the precise function of some areas, such as underground chambers and special rooms, remains unknown. Some might have housed priests or leaders, Others resemble ceremonial spaces, but archaeological evidence is still very inconclusive. Yet the most captivating and perplexing mystery of Tilcara Pukara is the fate of those who once lived here, a dramatic story that even now baffles scientists. Historical records and archaeological findings show that around the end of the 15th century and the start of the 16th century, when the Spanish began arriving in the Andes, Tilcara Pukara was still a bustling center with a thriving population, vibrant trade, and active religious life. Yet, in a remarkably short period, the entire fortress was abandoned in complete mystery. All signs of life disappeared. The buildings gradually weathered with time, leaving a deserted, silent, and ruined citadel in the heart of the valley. What caused a major center like Tilcara Pukara to collapse and suddenly disappear? This remains the biggest question that archaeologists, historians, and even local communities continue to debate to this day. Many theories have been proposed, ranging from armed conflict with the Spanish, who advanced deep into the South American continent, massacring and oppressing numerous indigenous communities, with some records mentioning fierce battles in the Quebrada de Humahuaca region, where fortresses like Tilcara became brutal battlefields, though archaeology has yet to uncover any clear evidence of large-scale destructive warfare, to the devastating effects of disease brought by Europeans, especially smallpox, measles, and influenza, which ravaged native populations, lacking immunity, even though no mass graves or signs of widespread death have been found in the fortress area. Some opinions emphasize the possibility of social, economic, or natural crises, such as climate fluctuations, water shortages, or prolonged crop failures that could have made it impossible for residents to survive, along with internal instability, power struggles, or the loss of control over trade routes. However, there is no conclusive physical evidence to confirm these causes. Additionally, it has been theorized that the inhabitants of Tilcara may have chosen to migrate on their own, integrating into neighboring communities, or were forced by the Spanish to abandon the fortress. Yet historical records lack specific information about the fate of each group after they left. Another explanation suggests the collapse could have originated from spiritual or religious factors. As in many Andean civilizations, spiritual beliefs played a crucial role, and perhaps a religious event, a bad omen or the wrath of the gods, prompted the residents to abandon the fortress, something that has been observed at other ruins across the Andes. It is this lack of clear evidence, combined with a mix of folklore and history, that has turned the disappearance of Tilcara Pukara's people into one of South America's greatest mysteries. In the early 20th century, Argentine archaeologists began restoring Tilcara Pukara, transforming it into a celebrated tourist attraction. Yet these restoration efforts have sparked controversy over authenticity. Some areas were reconstructed based on speculation, incomplete records, or influenced by modern perspectives, which may have altered the original essence of the ancient site. Nonetheless, Tilcara Pukara remains an important heritage site recognized by UNESCO as part of the Quebrada de Humahuaca World Heritage Complex, a place that preserves the memory of history, culture, and many yet unsolved mysteries. Today, Tilcara Pukara is not only a renowned archaeological destination attracting thousands of visitors, but also a venue where local communities hold traditional festivals, perpetuating the spiritual rites of their ancestors. The mysteries of the past still quietly resonate in the spiritual lives and oral traditions handed down through generations. Anyone who sets foot in Tilcara amidst the vastness of stone and sky can sense an enigmatic silence, as if the whispers of ancient souls still linger with messages from a chapter of history that remains open. Tilcara Pukara Cliff Fortress stands as both a marvel of ancient stone engineering and a haunting mystery. The sudden disappearance of its once thriving community remains unsolved, turning Tilcara into a powerful symbol of unanswered questions from the past. Every stone, every ruined wall, seems to whisper stories lost to time, drawing explorers and scholars alike to uncover the secrets still hidden among the Andean highlands. If you need to find the symbol for the agnosticism of Japanese archaeology, Masuda no Iwafun, the rock ship of Masuda stands out as the most prominent example. Sitting atop a small hill in the village of Ayaz-Kala prefecture, amidst the tranquil landscape of a land once considered the cradle of ancient Japanese civilization, this colossal stone silently challenges every attempt at explanation through the ages. The legends, controversies, and hypotheses surrounding it only add to the enigma, prompting anyone standing before the rock ship to wonder who created it, for what purpose, and how could people of the past craft something so massive and sophisticated during a time when technical means were so limited. Who do you think built the Masuda rock ship, and for what purpose? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Masuda no Iwafun stands out like a misplaced entity between nature and history, with a length of about 11 meters, nearly 8 meters wide, almost 5 meters tall, and an estimated weight of over 800 tons. This stone is comparable to a 3-story building or an entire train carriage. What amazes everyone is that the whole structure is carved from a single block of natural granite, rising from the slope of the hill with no signs of having been moved or assembled. Notably, on top of the rock ship are 2 deep, perfectly parallel grooves, as if they were made with modern cutting tools, along with a small square pillar protruding from the center. The surface of the stone is polished to a degree that defies belief, far exceeding the techniques found in other structures from the Asuka period. If you just saw a photo, few would believe this is the work of ancient craftsmen from over a millennium ago. What makes the rock ship of Masuda no Iwafun an endless topic for scholars, researchers, and mystery enthusiasts isn't its massive size or unique location, but rather the fact that its true purpose has been completely forgotten, or perhaps never revealed at all, even after centuries. Unlike the tombs, temples, or Buddha statues of Asuka, which are always accompanied by historical records, legends, or distinct traces in folklore, Masuda no Iwafun remains utterly silent in the face of history. There is not a single line in official or unofficial records that mentions why this stone monument exists. There are no written legends, no ritual guidelines, and no signs indicating that it was ever repurposed across different eras. This absence means that every explanation for its origins and function remains nothing more than speculation. Many theories have been proposed. Some believe Masuda no Iwafun was once an ancient astronomical observatory based on the 2 parallel grooves oriented toward the sunrise. But if that were true, why is there only one such strange structure in the entire history of Japan? No marker stones or remnants of observational devices have ever been found here. The theory that it was a foundation for a grand structure, a temple tomb, or ancient tower lacks evidence, as there are no traces of building materials, foundations, or enclosing walls anywhere nearby. The rock ship form is even more out of place compared to traditional Asuka architecture, which often used stacked stones or underground construction rather than erecting massive structures atop a hill like this. Some suggest it was an altar or lost ceremonial platform, but aside from the unusual grooves and its unique shape, Masuda no Iwafun bears none of the typical hallmarks of religious monuments. No relief carvings, no statues, no remains of offerings. Some modern scholars, after years of research and surveying, have proposed a reasonable but bittersweet theory. Perhaps Masuda no Iwafun was simply an abandoned project, left unfinished due to war, disaster, disease, or a shift in power. Perhaps the artisans who began it with great passion had to leave it behind forever, the monument never completed. But if it was merely an abandoned work, Why did they go to such painstaking lengths, creating two perfectly parallel grooves and a peculiar square pillar? And why is there no trace of tools, stone debris, or any groundbreaking activity in the area? Perhaps the most confounding aspect of this mystery is the absolute silence from both history and legend. Unlike other great monuments, which are usually accompanied by stories, anecdotes, or at least some form of local legend, Masuda no Iwafune seems to have never appeared in the collective memory of the local community over generations. Even its name, Iwafune, simply means rock ship, and isn't tied to any special event or myth. This absence leaves the true purpose of Masuda no Iwafune as a giant void, one that still cannot be filled in humanity's memory and understanding today. Beyond the question of its true purpose, the construction techniques used for Masuda no Iwafune have left many astonished and raised doubts about the technological capabilities of ancient people. With a massive weight of over 800 tons, carving, shaping, and polishing, deep grooves and smooth surfaces on such hard granite would be a tremendous challenge, even for modern technology. Yet during the Asuka period, available tools consisted mainly of chisels, hammers, and a handful of rudimentary iron implements. Geological analysis shows that the entire rock has no major cracks or signs of being cut apart and moved, proving it was shaped right on site. This required craftsmen to work on rugged terrain and maintain absolute precision, since even the slightest mistake could render the entire monument useless. What makes this structure especially intriguing are the two parallel grooves running along the top, a detail that challenges all scientific explanations. Their depth, width, and perfect straightness have led many to compare them to the results of sophisticated modern stone-cutting machines. The square pillar protruding from the center is also carved with remarkable symmetry, sharpness, and uniform proportions, something extremely difficult to achieve using only simple hand tools. The skill required to polish the stone's surface and eliminate unnecessary edges also reveals masterful craftsmanship on par with the builders of Egypt's pyramids or the great stone monuments of South America and Europe. Even more puzzling is the fact that no tools, material piles, or large debris from the carving and finishing process have ever been found around Masuda no Iwafune. This is in stark contrast to other megalithic sites around the world, where waste piles, broken tools, or leftover fragments are always present, and it only deepens the suspicion that this may have been created by a technological tradition far beyond what we currently know about the Asuka era. Compared to other megalithic structures in Japan, Masuda no Iwafune is truly one of a kind. The famous Kofun tombs are usually keyhole-shaped mounds or stacked stone blocks for burial rituals, while Buddha statues are clearly carved and associated with Buddhism or Shinto beliefs. Masuda no Iwafune fits none of these categories, nor does it resemble any other monument worldwide. It is not a pyramid, not an astronomical observatory like Stonehenge, nor an ancient altar. It is truly an independent mystery, alone in the flow of history. Not only scientists, but also local people, and those drawn to mysticism, have put forth countless speculations about the origin of the rock ship. Some legends claim it is the work of gods, giants, or even a spaceship of an extraterrestrial civilization that once visited Japan. While there is not a shred of concrete evidence for such theories, the strangeness of Masuda no Iwafune remains fertile ground for imagination and for the human need to explain the unknowns of the past. Today, Masuda no Iwafune still quietly rests atop its hill, with no protective fences, no detailed interpretive plaques, only the stillness of time and the whispers of the mountain wind. Many come to visit to photograph, to marvel, and to ask themselves countless questions about the true meaning of the rock ship. Even though international archaeological teams have investigated it many times, there is still no truly satisfactory answer. This stone stands as a silent symphony from the past, a reminder that no matter how advanced we become, humanity still faces countless mysteries about our own history. There are lands that history seems to have forgotten, yet beneath layers of dust and gravel, mysteries silently await their day to be revealed. Sechin Bajo is such a place, an ancient archaeological site lying quietly in the Kasma Valley, where every excavation step astonishes archaeologists. Not only because of its astonishing age spanning millennia, but also because of its solid constructions. Stone walls stacked atop each other, using techniques far beyond what we imagine for their time. Every stone at Sechin Bajo is like a living page of history, telling the story of a society that achieved a level of building mastery that commands respect even from the modern world. What do you think about the ancient construction techniques at Sechin Bajo? In your opinion, what enabled them to create such enduring monuments? Feel free to share your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. When archaeologists began excavating Sechin Bajo in the late 20th century, they could hardly believe what remained amid the arid desert. Massive stone foundations, intricately carved walls, vast ceremonial plazas, and thick layers of sediment built up over millennia. Radiocarbon dating revealed a stunning fact. Some parts of Sechin Bajo have existed for more than 5,000 years before the present, predating even the ancient Egyptian pyramids. This discovery meant Sechin Bajo was not only the progenitor of Andean settlements, but also one of the oldest centers of civilization in all of the Americas. This find pushed the starting line of Andean civilization much farther back than science had ever suspected. One of Sechin Bajo's greatest mysteries is its multi-layered foundations, proving that it was built, expanded, destroyed, and rebuilt over thousands of years. The oldest structures lie deep underground, constructed primarily from enormous stones and compacted clay, a blend of traditional stonework and local materials. These construction layers are more than mere ruins. They are living records of a resilient, highly organized society's continual evolution. Each architectural layer at Sechin Bajo holds its own enigma, from ancient carved stone walls and secret passageways plunging deep into the earth to sprawling platforms whose true purposes remain debated. This reveals that generations of Kasma people living here continually innovated and refined their building techniques over many millennia. Sechin Bajo stands out for its enormous stone bas-reliefs, depicting figures with weapon scenes of violence and decapitation and an array of strange cryptic symbols. Unlike pure decorative art, these images seem to possess religious ritual or even historical significance, possibly documenting past acts of violence. These bas-reliefs have raised many questions. Was this a society that glorified war? Or are these images symbolic of ancient sacrificial rituals? Did the builders of Sechin Bajo use art to deliver messages or warnings about power, social order, or deep cosmic beliefs to future generations? In addition to its grand architectural relics, Sechin Bajo contains vast ceremonial plazas, temples, ritual platforms, and a complex system of underground tunnels. However, archaeologists have yet to agree on the site's true function. Was it a bustling residential city, a religious power center, or merely a site for major communal rituals and special festivals? Notably, everyday artifacts here are rare, leading many experts to suspect that Sechin Bajo may once have been a regional ceremonial center, a gathering place for diverse Kasma groups to perform collective rituals. This theory is further supported by comparing Sechin Bajo's layout to other major ancient Peruvian sites such as Caral and Chavin de Huanta. What makes Sechin Bajo one of the greatest enigmas of South American archaeology is its construction technology, which far surpasses the capabilities typically seen in prehistoric societies. The walls, columns, and foundations here were built from massive stone blocks, each weighing several tons, quarried from distant locations and transported to the site by methods that remain unexplained to this day. Remarkably, at that time, the Khazar people had no knowledge of the wheel, no metal tools, and did not use the strength of large animals such as camels or horses. Yet they were able to move, lift, and assemble these stones with extraordinary precision, a feat that would be challenging even with modern technology. In fact, many of the walls at Sechin Bajo employed the technique of mortise and tenon joinery. The large stones were carved with grooves and fitted tightly together without mortar, enabling the structures to withstand numerous earthquakes, a harsh reality in the seismic Andes. But it does not stop there. The ancient engineers of Sechin Bajo also mastered the use of composite materials, reinforcing walls and foundations with blends of clay, mud, sand, gravel, and straw. This not only provided insulation and moisture resistance, but also greatly increased structural strength, helping prevent natural erosion over millennia. Some areas even show traces of a special clay mortar, possibly the result of secret formulas handed down within their community, which included unusual plant additives to enhance adhesion and resist rot well beyond the standard construction knowledge of the time. Beyond material science, their ingenuity is evident in the spatial orientation of the structures. Many parts of Sechin Bajo are aligned with the rising or setting sun, or with special astronomical phenomena serving rituals related to the sun, the moon, and the changing seasons. This proves that the ancient builders possessed advanced surveying skills, astronomical observation, and architectural thinking far ahead of what we once believed. Within the site, ceremonial plazas, stone altars, and terrace steps were all designed to optimize the movement of people, acoustics, and sight lines, ideal for mass, rituals, or large gatherings. This is a clear indicator of a high level of social organization and community management even before the advent of writing. Most impressive of all, Sechin Bajo lies in a barren desert region plagued by a harsh climate and frequent earthquakes, yet its structures have survived virtually intact for thousands of years. Archaeologists have realized that the ancient people deliberately designed underground drainage systems, anti-erosion terraces, and special ventilation shafts to protect their monuments from the ravages of nature. All these factors combine to make Sechin Bajo a true engineering marvel of prehistoric Andes, inspiring both astonishment and admiration from the scientific world today. Sechin Bajo did not exist in isolation. It lay within a network connecting major sites like Sechin Alto Corral Casma and Chavin, forming a vast cultural, religious, political ecosystem spanning ancient northern Peru. The Casma River was not only a lifeline, but a trade corridor linking cultural regions, enabling the flow of building techniques, knowledge, and art through the generations. In 2008, archaeologists uncovered an ancient stone bas-relief at Sechin Bajo, more than 5,500 years old, one of the oldest works of art in the Americas. This find upended prior notions of how early complex societies arose in South America and raised new questions. How many more mysteries still lie buried beneath the earth, waiting to be discovered? Furthermore, layers of archaeological remains reveal that Sechin Bajo society was clearly stratified by function, from ritual elites and builders to ordinary people. This is proof of a highly organized society with advanced technical skills. Despite all of Sechin Bajo's achievements, scientists still struggle to explain its wonders. Who were the first builders of Sechin Bajo? What tools did they use? And how did they transport stones weighing tons? Why could a prehistoric civilization create monuments that could withstand time, earthquakes, and nature's fury for thousands of years? What are the true meanings behind the bas-reliefs, the violent rituals, and even the fate of the Casma people after Sechin Bajo was gradually abandoned? Sechin Bajo, with its ageless construction, mysterious architecture, and controversial art, is not just a living museum of ancient Andean civilization, but also a profound challenge to modern intellect and curiosity. Every stone, every carving here, harbors countless unanswered questions, waiting for new generations to continue exploring, researching, and drawing endless inspiration from the superhuman capabilities of our ancestors. In the deep and frigid heart of the Baltic Sea, amidst murky currents and bone-chilling flows, lies one of the most hotly debated mysteries of the 21st century, the Baltic Sea anomaly. From the very moment it was discovered in 2011, this anomaly quickly became a global phenomenon, attracting not only scientists but also UFO enthusiasts, conspiracy theorists, seekers of archaeological enigmas, and millions of curious minds around the world. The anomaly itself is not merely a submerged object. It has become a symbol of uncertainty, a testament to the limits of human knowledge about the deep ocean, where countless unsolved secrets remain hidden. What do you think about the Baltic Sea anomaly? Is it a product of nature or something artificial? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Who knows, maybe your idea will be the key to unlocking the greatest secret of the Baltic Sea. The story of the Baltic Sea anomaly began in June of 2011 when the Swedish exploration team Ocean X was on a mission to hunt for shipwrecks and ancient treasures beneath the Baltic Sea. Little did they know, that expedition would forever change humanity's perception of this cold ocean floor. Instead of an ancient ship or a forgotten treasure, their sonar equipment picked up a shape unlike anything seen before, a massive disc-like object lying silently at a depth of nearly 92 meters below the surface, measuring approximately 60 meters in diameter. Trailing behind this object was a mysterious long streak, as if a landing mark or a sliding track stretching up to nearly 400 meters. The image of the anomaly, once scanned onto the radar screen, was instantly overwhelming. Deep grooves, steps, concentric circles, and sharply angled features that seemed more like the results of engineering intervention than of an ordinary rock. News of this discovery spread rapidly on social networks and international media, sparking an unprecedented wave of debate. What makes the Baltic Sea anomaly even stranger is not only its shape, but also the phenomena that occur upon approach. Members of Ocean X and subsequent survey teams all encountered serious equipment malfunctions when nearing the anomaly. Machines that had previously operated smoothly suddenly experienced interference, signal loss, even total paralysis upon approaching the object. The appearance of these mysterious electromagnetic signals reminded many of UFO stories and energy fields that humans do not yet fully understand. Moreover, observing the anomaly's surface through images, videos, and sonar data revealed many unnatural features: flat cuts, deep straight holes, parallel cracks, and especially concentric circles, evoking a sense of technique or human handiwork. Some Ocean X members also reported scorched marks, signs of melting, and unusually smooth stone surfaces. These elements have contributed to the belief that the anomaly is not simply a random product of nature. This is the greatest focal point of every debate surrounding the Baltic Sea anomaly, where science and imagination constantly collide. Since the anomaly was made public, theories about its origins have always been split into two opposing camps. One side, consisting of orthodox scientists and geologists, believes that the anomaly is merely a drumlin, a type of sediment hill formed beneath ancient glaciers. According to them, when massive glaciers moved over the northern European continent tens of thousands of years ago, they could have formed unusual rare stone structures, but not impossible ones. Grooves, smooth surfaces, and cracks might result from powerful currents or collisions with other stones, while the electromagnetic interference could be explained by the magnetism found in certain mineral types. On the other hand, there is a sizable group of alternative researchers, UFO enthusiasts, and mystery lovers who present a barrage of strong counter-arguments. They point out that the anomaly is strikingly symmetrical, its surface marked by deep drill holes, flat-cut steps, and concentric circles, all of which are hard to attribute to mere natural processes. The long streak behind the anomaly resembles a landing mark or the remains of a structure buried by cataclysmic geological upheavals. Some rock samples taken by Ocean X were even described as having unusual material composition or resembling engineered materials, although these claims have yet to be independently verified by major scientific organizations. Especially noteworthy is the electromagnetic interference that consistently occurs whenever equipment approaches the anomaly, providing the artificial origin camp with further grounds for suspicion. Could the anomaly contain a strange energy source within, or perhaps technological components never before seen? Or is it simply the result of rare natural factors that modern science has yet to uncover? As of now, neither side possesses enough compelling evidence to reach a definitive conclusion, making the Baltic Sea anomaly one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of the ocean depths. Another reason the Baltic Sea anomaly remains an enduring mystery is the real-world barriers to direct site investigation. The anomaly's depth of more than 90 meters is no minor challenge. The environment at the bottom of the Baltic Sea is perpetually cold, with strong currents and very murky water, making diving and data collection extremely difficult and dangerous. Even modern survey equipment often malfunctions or breaks down when nearing the anomaly, leading to many aborted dives or unfulfilled data-gathering missions. Notably, most samples, images, and sonar data all originate from the Ocean X group without independent verification from third parties or major research institutions. For this reason, the objectivity, transparency, and reliability of current data remains subject to significant scientific skepticism. The lack of independent, publicly available studies and the ongoing controversy over sampling and recording methods have contributed to keeping debates about the Baltic Sea anomaly unresolved. To this day, the Baltic Sea anomaly lies quietly beneath layers of mud and at the bottom of the deep sea, defying all human attempts to approach it. So what exactly is the anomaly? Is it simply a strange random product of ancient glaciers, or is it lasting evidence of a lost civilization, a buried technical construction, or even the trace of extraterrestrial visitors who came to Earth thousands of years ago? Perhaps only when science reaches a more advanced level, with more modern and transparent surveying equipment, will we gradually approach the ultimate truth. But whatever the answer, the Baltic Sea anomaly will always remain a symbol of curiosity, the thirst for exploration, and the thin line between what we know and all that remains unknown beneath the deep sea. Lying quietly on a small island off the coast of Tanzania, Songo Manara is one of the largest, most mysterious, and least known coral stone architectural relics of the Swahili civilization that once flourished along the East African coast. Over 6 centuries have passed, yet the faded coral stone walls of Songo Manara still stand, bearing witness to a golden age that has faded and raising countless unanswered questions. What caused a prosperous urban center like Songo Manara to be suddenly abandoned, disappearing from the bustling trade flows of the Indian Ocean? And why, at a time when the Swahili trading network was at its peak, did the fate of this city fade away so quietly? What do you think caused Songo Manara to be abandoned? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Songo Manara is located on a small island near the mouth of the Rufiji River in southern Tanzania, ideally situated for both maritime and riverine trade. This geographical structure made the city a perfect transit hub for goods coming from and going to inland Africa and the open sea. Songo Manara was not just a harbor for Persian, Arab, and Indian merchant ships, but also an economic center where ivory, gold, amber, and countless local products were exchanged for fabrics, beads, ceramics, and spices from afar. Archaeological evidence shows that the city once thrived during the 14th to 16th centuries. The coral stone architectural system was tightly organized with houses, mosques, tombs, public squares, wells, and bathhouses, all forming a city that was both modern and mysterious in the midst of wild tropical landscapes. The most striking feature of Songo Manara is its masterful coral stone construction techniques. More than 40 large and small structures were built by quarrying, cutting, and assembling pale coral blocks with intricate Islamic-style decorations blending with local African aesthetics. Grand mosques with arches, multi-tiered houses, underground wells, and drainage systems, ceremonial areas, and courtyards all demonstrate a level of planning and social organization rarely matched by contemporary sites. Inside the mosques, columns and walls are delicately carved arches, and entrances display unique geometric patterns, sometimes interspersed with native flora and fauna motifs. The house structures reflect a clear division of social classes. There are grand villas for the elite, modest homes, and even separate outdoor ceremonial areas. Swahili trade history is closely associated with ports such as Kilwa, Kisiwani, Mombasa, and Lamu, but Songo Manara was once one of the golden links connecting the entire East African region with the Islamic world, South Asia, and even Southeast Asia. Archaeological finds here, Chinese ceramics, Persian glass, Indian beads, and Arab coins are compelling evidence of an intercontinental trade network. The people of Songo Manara lived a lifestyle that blended local traditions with Persian and Arab influences evident in their language, religion, Islam being dominant clothing, and daily customs. During its golden centuries, the city was home to wealthy merchants, native aristocrats, scholars, craftsmen, and pilgrims. However, the most perplexing thing for posterity is the abrupt and strange end of Songo Manara. The city was almost entirely abandoned at the end of the 16th century, precisely when other Swahili centers continued to develop or only slightly declined. There are no historical records or local legends that document the specific reasons for its decline. Many theories have been proposed, but none have been truly convincing so far. Some suggest that a major epidemic or climate change may have caused the city to lose its sources of water and food, forcing people to leave. Although layers of black ash, animal bones, and traces of fire found in houses may point to some kind of disaster, there is no clear evidence of a large-scale epidemic, nor have any mass human remains or communal burial sites been discovered. Another theory is that war or foreign invasions led to the city's decline, especially given that the East African region at the time frequently experienced conflicts between Swahili cities and attacks by pirates or Portuguese forces. However, at Songo Manara, there are no signs of large-scale destruction, no defensive structures, nor evidence of widespread armed conflict. The tombs and mosques remain fairly intact without traces of mass looting. Additionally, many researchers believe that the major shifts in Indian Ocean trade routes during the 16th century, when the Portuguese Empire seized control of major ports, created a crisis for Swahili cities. Even so, other cities eventually recovered after the crisis, while Songo Manara disappeared completely, a major unanswered question. Some other theories involve religion or special customs based on the presence of many ceremonial structures, outdoor ritual spaces, mysterious burial pits, or hidden stone platforms under house foundations. Some scholars think there may have been internal religious conflict or a religious migration that led residents to leave en masse, but there is no evidence of religious persecution or catastrophic events related to religion. Moreover, archaeological evidence shows that Songo Manara once struggled to maintain sources of clean water, wood, and food. Yet strangely, the wells and drainage systems were still operating until the very end, with no signs of gradual abandonment. It seems the city simply disconnected all of a sudden. All of these theories, no matter how reasonable, still cannot fully solve the mystery of why Songo Manara was abandoned. In fact, not only Songo Manara, but many other Swahili cities also experienced rise and decline, but most left traces of transition, or are mentioned in local legends and histories. Only Songo Manara is peculiar. Lacking all historical records, its material evidence does not fit any popular theory. The city disappeared in silence, without clear physical destruction, no traces of major conflict, and no evidence of large-scale natural disaster. Today, Songo Manara is recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, but the site is severely threatened by natural forces: coastal erosion, rising sea levels, salt-laden winds, destroying coral stone, and human impacts putting many structures at risk of vanishing forever. Research, restoration, and conservation efforts face great difficulties due to the isolated location, lack of historical documents, and the site's complex scale. What remains of Songo Manara houses, mosques, tombs, drainage systems, layers of ash, and mysterious ritual traces is a priceless archaeological treasure for decoding history, but also a reminder of the fragility of once thriving civilizations. After decades of research, archaeologists, historians, and anthropologists still cannot agree on the fundamental cause of Songo Manara's abandonment. It may be a combination of economic, climatic, social, religious, or some unique event never recorded. But one thing is certain: the story of Songo Manara is not just the history of a city, but a mirror reflecting the rise and fragility of all human civilizations. The greatest mystery of Songo Manara remains intact. Its trace-free disappearance has made this place a beacon for those who yearn to explore, study, and ponder the unsolved enigmas of human history. Perched precariously on sheer mountain cliffs, the lesser-known high cliff tombs of Petra are not only a testament to reverence for the dead, but also a riddle that challenges modern archaeologists regarding ancient construction techniques. While monuments like the Treasury or royal tombs have become globally renowned, it is these silent tombs atop the cliffs that reveal the truly advanced capabilities of the Nabateans, a people who once turned stone into cities in the heart of the desert. What do you think of the Nabateans' construction techniques at Petra? Could modern people recreate such feats without contemporary technology and machinery? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Unlike tombs located closer to the ground, the high cliff tombs often appear at elevations of several dozen, even several hundred meters above the valley below. Some tombs cling tightly to vertical rock faces, visible from afar only as dark windows silhouetted against the blazing sky. Choosing these positions was not only about expressing power status or spiritual meaning, it posed enormous engineering challenges to anyone attempting such a feat. In these treacherous terrains, amid harsh arid climates and constantly eroding sandstorms, any mistake during construction could result in fatal accidents or the complete destruction of the structure. For this reason, the presence of these tombs on nearly vertical cliffs has left generations of archaeologists and modern engineers both amazed and perplexed. To carve tombs into high cliff faces, the Nabateans had to possess an extremely detailed understanding of the local geology. Petra's sandstone is layered with each stratum, varying in hardness, color, and durability. Choosing the wrong spot for an entrance or attacking a weak layer could cause the entire facade to collapse or shatter irreparably. Many pieces of evidence show that Nabatean craftsmen could read the cliff as if it were a book, pinpointing exact spots for hooks cutting the stone along natural cracks to maximize strength and creating special visual effects when sunlight hit the rock. They often began by chiseling a groove around the intended facade, creating a frame first before carefully delving deeper into the rock to hollow out the main chamber and side niches. One of the most puzzling questions surrounding Petra's high cliff tombs is this: how did the ancient Nabateans manage to get people tools and materials up to such dizzying heights on nearly vertical rock faces without the help of machines, cranes, or modern safety equipment? Small traces that remain, such as round drill holes, horizontal grooves, and unfinished steps scattered across the cliffs, have been interpreted by archaeologists as points where massive wooden scaffolding was once anchored. This scaffolding system could have extended from the base of the mountain all the way up to the tomb entrance, or been constructed in segments along the rock face, forming floating walkways that allowed workers to move transport materials and carry out the carving work. Building scaffolding at such great heights was not as simple as erecting it straight upward. It required incredibly precise calculations of load-bearing points, methods of anchoring the scaffolds into natural rock crevices, and control of swaying caused by strong winds and the combined weight of workers and tools. The Nabateans may have used high-quality imported wood from the regions of Lebanon or Sinai, paired with ropes woven from local sheep's wool, all treated to resist rot and insect damage. This challenge was so immense that even many modern experts admit that despite today's technological assistance, recreating such traditional scaffolding systems remains a difficult task, a fact that further highlights the extraordinary ingenuity and creativity of Petra's ancient builders. Although the Nabatean era lacked hard alloy steel, as we have today, they knew how to utilize copper iron and sometimes hard stones to craft suitable tools. Knives, chisels, hammers, and axes were carefully tempered, and traces on cliff walls show the use of multiple types of chisel heads, from sharp points for deep drilling, flat heads for smoothing, to serrated edges for creating dust grooves. The process of carving a large facade had to be carried out from top to bottom to avoid rock slides and ensure safety. Stone dust and debris were allowed to fall freely down into the valley below, or were gathered in hanging baskets to protect the work area. Additionally, maintaining straight lines and balanced facades at great height and with limited sight lines demanded a highly trained eye for alignment. Some high cliff tombs still show remnants of stairs carved directly into the rock, or deep grooves running along the cliffs, possibly once used to place wooden planks for temporary walkways. Today, these routes have mostly eroded away, nearly disappearing, leaving only faint traces hinting at the complex movement systems the Nabateans employed. There are theories that they used a combination of hanging scaffolds, temporary wooden bridges, large ropes tied from the cliff top to lower workers, and even created small alcoves for craftsmen to swing out from the rock while carving hard-to-reach corners. Not limited to facades, many tombs featured complex interior chambers, small niches for offerings, or even short corridors connecting multiple burial rooms. All of this had to be carefully calculated to avoid compromising the rock's load-bearing structure. Carving too deeply into weak layers could cause the entire tomb to collapse, a catastrophe impossible to remedy with ancient technology. Modern studies have found that the Nabateans often selected the intersection points of two hard rock layers, employing a technique called reverse anchoring, leaving natural stone pillars above the chamber ceiling, thus avoiding hollowing out the entire volume while still ensuring spacious, airy interiors. Thanks to this, after thousands of years, many tombs have not cracked or lost their roofs. Few noticed that the position and orientation of high tomb facades were carefully planned to capture sunlight at specific times of day. When the sun rose, or at sunset, the light striking the facade created a blazing effect, highlighting every chiseled line. and accentuating the shapes and colors of the sandstone. Some researchers believe this was not just by chance, but also had spiritual significance, sunlight awakening the soul of the departed or symbolizing the harmony of heaven and earth. Today, even with modern machinery, reconstructing the process of building a high cliff tomb in Petra remains an enormous challenge. Archaeological teams, construction engineers, and climbing experts attempting to role-play Nabatean artisans must use safety harnesses, modern scaffolding, and three-dimensional scanning technology for safety and precision. Even then, the final results cannot match the perfection of the ancient tombs in terms of smoothness, lines, or perspective. Mysteries remain regarding planning, workforce mobilization, material transport, team coordination, reading the natural rock structure, and handling unforeseen issues. Some researchers have even hypothesized the existence of lost technologies, special knowledge or tools once secretly passed down among Nabatean builders, now lost forever. It is precisely these unique construction techniques that have turned Petra's high cliff tombs into enduring symbols of ancient human intelligence and courage. Each time we gaze up at those silent facades on the cliffs, we not only sense their mystery, but also see the imprint of artisans who overcame stone-dizzying heights and fear to create miracles. Today, although most visitors stop at the famous monuments, it is these nameless tombs perched high above that hold valuable lessons in perseverance, creativity, and the human drive to surpass limitations, lessons still waiting to be discovered within every ancient stone. In the heart of the vast, dusty Kizilcum desert of Uzbekistan, where every step sinks deep into the arid soil and echoes the distant past of lost civilizations, there stands a cluster of silent ancient fortresses, Ayaz-Kala, almost buried by time and shifting sands. From afar, three massive forts with crumbling walls still stand tall, defying thousands of years of upheaval, reminding humanity of a once mighty culture at the crossroads of the Silk Road. Yet what makes Ayaz-Kala an endless fascination for archaeologists and ancient mystery enthusiasts is not just its scale, age, or construction technique, but rather the question behind the reasons for its decline and seemingly traceless disappearance. What do you think is the deepest reason why Ayaz-Kala, one of the most formidable and impressive fortresses in Central Asia, was abandoned for centuries, with no one daring to return? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Rewinding the wheel of time to the earliest centuries BCE, the ancient region of Khorazm, now in western Uzbekistan, was once a flourishing oasis home to farming communities, merchants, and warriors. Its wealth, nurtured by the Amu Darya River and an ancient canal system, made it a tempting target for nomadic tribes, invaders from the north and east, and powerful empires like Persia, Greece, and Kushan. In this context, fortresses like Ayaz-Kala were not just defensive walls, but also symbols of power, survival, and native pride. Ayaz-Kala consists of three main fortresses: Ayaz-Kala 1, 2, and 3, built from around the 4th century BCE to the 7th century CE, each reflecting a different layer of time, a different wave of inhabitants, and a different ideology. Each fortress carries a distinct architectural stamp. Ayaz-Kala 1 sits alone on a high hill surrounded by rectangular walls with watchtowers. Ayaz-Kala 2 possesses a complex multi-layered defensive structure. Ayaz-Kala 3 has many internal buildings reminiscent of the residences of nobles or ruling classes. All were built primarily with sun-baked mud bricks mixed with straw, a choice well-suited to the desert climate, yet remarkably durable over more than 2 millennia. During the centuries of great development, Ayaz-Kala was a vital military, economic, and religious center linking major trade routes across Asia and Europe. It was not just a checkpoint for goods along the Silk Road, but also the site of religious festivals, power struggles between tribes, and a safe haven when outside forces descended. Archaeological evidence reveals traces of diverse daily activities. Granaries houses ceremonial rooms, fragments of murals, and intricately decorated pottery. Every brick, every fallen wall tells a story of human hands and the hope to thrive in the desert. But then, over many centuries, as the currents of power shifted, Ayaz-Kala gradually faded into oblivion. And the very question, why would such a sturdy structure with such a perfect defensive location, once the heart of a civilization, be abandoned, has become one of the most persistent archaeological mysteries of Central Asia. When people talk about Ayaz-Kala today, beyond the awe at its scale and the remarkable durability of its construction, what haunts observers most is the silence and ruin, as if all life there had been swept away by some mysterious catastrophe. Ancient records, already scarce, do not clearly mention the moment of the fortress's decline. That is why dozens of theories have arisen, each bringing with it a host of questions and endless debate. One of the most popular theories suggests that Ayaz-Kala, like many Khwarezm fortresses, was unable to withstand the repeated assaults of powerful nomadic tribes, especially the Scythians and later the Turkic peoples. The traces of destruction on the walls, the scorch marks in the inner rooms, and the archaeological layers of ash all point to fierce battles. However, if this were merely the result of war, why were the fortresses never reused, but instead left completely abandoned for hundreds of years afterward? This question still has no convincing answer. Khwarezm once flourished thanks to the abundant waters of the Amu Darya River, with ancient canals irrigating thousands of hectares of farmland. But over time, climate change and geological shifts caused the river to change its course, and many oases gradually dried up and became dead land. Archaeological data and soil analysis show that from the 7th century onward, the region became increasingly arid, suffering from severe water shortages that made it impossible for residents to remain. No civilization, no matter how great, can triumph over the desert when water, the sole source of life, disappears. Yet some argue that it was also human actions, deforestation, uncontrolled canal digging, that contributed to this disaster. Another theory emphasizes that after centuries of division and internal strife, the Khwarezm dynasties gradually weakened. As centers of power shifted to larger cities like Khiva and Urgench, remote fortresses such as Ayaz-Kala lost their strategic value, and the population gradually migrated to safer lands. The loss of political control, combined with external pressures, turned the area into a dead land where only crumbling brick walls remain, along with chilling legends of restless spirits. Some researchers believe that fortresses like Ayaz-Kala were once linked to religious ceremonies and the ancient belief systems of the Khwarezm people. When new cultural waves arrived, such as Zoroastrianism from Persia, Buddhism from the East, and later Islam, the old centers were seen as obsolete, even as haunted, and no longer maintained by the population. Additionally, rapid urban growth in nearby areas drew away the younger population, leaving behind the elderly who could no longer sustain life on such a harsh frontier. The few scattered accounts from medieval Chinese and Persian merchants sometimes mention major epidemics or devastating floods and droughts that swept across entire regions. Beneath the sand that covers Ayaz-Kala, archaeologists have found unusually thick layers of ash and sand, possibly linked to extreme climate events, even sandstorms that quickly buried the gates and living quarters. Disease cannot be ruled out either, as residents crowded together in sealed fortresses with little water and poor sanitation. A single outbreak would have been enough to make people flee or perish en masse. What puzzles archaeologists most is this: even when the climate recovered somewhat or new dynasties came to power, fortresses like Ayaz-Kala were never reused on a large scale. Only a few temporary traces suggest that small groups might have returned at times, but the vast majority never came back to live long-term in these ancient walls. Perhaps this place became associated with omen's curses, or simply such a painful historical lesson that later generations chose to avoid it altogether. Today, the red brick walls of Ayaz-Kala continue to erode under desert winds, but each year, archaeologists, scientists, and tourists flock here hoping to decode another piece of the puzzle of the past. Many excavations have found traces of daily life stone tools, pottery shards with exquisite patterns, even foundations of secret ceremonial rooms. But the question, what truly caused an entire defense system, a vital center of the region, to be abandoned and forgotten, still has no final answer. Perhaps like so many other human mysteries, the fate of Ayaz-Kala serves as a humble reminder. No matter how grand, no matter how brilliant our intellect in building mighty fortresses amid endless sands, every civilization can be brought down by the forces of nature, the unpredictable twists of history, and sometimes simply by human choice. Ayaz-Kala is not just a heap of ruins in the desert. It stands as proof of the will to survive of our ancestors' desire to conquer nature, as a warning to those who believe in the immortality of human construction, and as an endless source of inspiration for researchers of the fragility of civilizations that once shone bright. At Ayaz-Kala, every step on the sand is a step back into the past, where the greatest mystery lies. Not in what we see, but in the unanswered questions. Why did this place once flourish? And why did it vanish so quietly, leaving only silent relics amid the endless sea of sand? Anyone who has ever set foot on the Shetland archipelago, a land of cutting winds, cold and isolation off the coast of Scotland, will surely feel a chill standing before Jarlshof stone settlement. This is not just an archaeological site. It is a quiet symphony of time, where layer upon layer of stone accumulates like forgotten pages of history, leaving humanity with countless unsolved mysteries. What do you think is the real reason behind the mysterious layers at Jarlshof? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Jarlshof is known as a rare living timeline of humankind on this land. This settlement has witnessed the continuous presence of people for more than 4,000 years. From the Neolithic through the Bronze Age, Iron Age, the fiery Viking era, and up to the Middle Ages. Most other archaeological sites in the world bear the imprint of a single dominant culture, but at Jarlshof, everything is entirely different. The cultural layers stack atop one another as if this land possesses an irresistible magnetism, attracting wave after wave of people to settle live and then vanish in silence. The strange thing is that each layer of settlement bears its own unique imprint. Circular houses with dry stone walls from the Neolithic, solid peculiar Brock towers from the Iron Age, long houses in the characteristic Norse Viking style, large stone-floored chambers from the medieval period. Underground, the architectures continue and intertwine like an archaeological maze, yet they are not destroyed by one another. It seems that later generations always respected and built upon the old foundations rather than leveling everything. Why could such a small, wild coastal patch of land hold on to successive cultures for so long? Was it favored natural conditions? A rare, warm climate amid the cold North Atlantic, a vital water source, or something beyond modern understanding? Among the greatest mysteries at Jarlshof, nothing fascinates scientists more than the questions of the site's origins and why these thick cultural layers persisted one after another. On the one hand, Jarlshof's location seems less than ideal, right by the sea, constantly battered by strong winds and storms, the land not particularly fertile and cut off from the mainland. Yet against all common sense, it became a gathering point of cultures continuing without interruption for thousands of years. Some theories suggest that Jarlshof was situated at the crossroads of ancient migratory routes, where hunter-gatherer tribes moved from Europe to Scandinavia from south to north. The treacherous sea was also a channel for trade and connection, making Jarlshof a transshipment station, a resting stop amid the vast ocean. But if it was just about trade, why did communities settle here for so long? Build solid structures, develop agriculture, weaving metallurgy, and turn this place into a constantly expanding complex. Many modern archaeologists raise the question, could Jarlshof once have been a spiritual sacred land, a holy place handed down through generations where each culture inherited, transformed, and added to the previous legacy to express its unique identity while respecting a shared divine power? In Jarlshof's architecture, one finds ritual elements, mysterious underground chambers possibly used for worship, storing sacred objects, or conducting spiritual ceremonies. The mystery deepens as researchers realize in each era, people here did not entirely destroy older structures, but intentionally overlapped, modified, and preserved the soul of previous cultures. This form of settlement created a stone time tower, each brick, a historical imprint, each layer of earth, an unsolved story. Jarlshof is not just a place where the new builds on the old, but is also living proof of cultural integration and differentiation. Archaeological evidence shows that at certain periods, multiple communities coexisted, sharing resources and knowledge, sometimes competing or clashing, leaving traces of both cooperation and conflict. The constructions of each era demonstrate remarkable technical progress, from the simple roundhouses of the Neolithic to sturdy defensive block towers of the Iron Age, to Viking stone-vaulted longhouses, and finally to the medieval stone-floored houses with ovens and storage rooms. Notably, the overlapping layers rarely break previous structures, possibly due to beliefs in land-protecting deities or simply respect for ancient traditions. This makes Jarlshof a rare archaeological phenomenon, where overlapping is not the result of conquest, destruction, and replacement, but of inheritance, continuation, and development, like a cultural flow unbroken through time. Beneath the surface, the narrow system of underground chambers still confounds us as to their exact purpose. Some theories suggest they were used to store food during the long, cold winters, or as shelters in times of attack. Others believe they were ritual spaces where the ancients performed secret ceremonies or even spirit paths for funerary rites. There is still no satisfying answer, only that this system was built strongly and cleverly and remains one of the biggest enigmas of Jarlshof. Additionally, many stone tools, bone artifacts, shards of pottery, and precious metal objects have been discovered, but many remain unidentified in function. Some are so complexly crafted as to seem beyond their era, raising the question, did the ancient people at Jarlshof possess technical or technological knowledge now lost to us? Jarlshof's mystery deepens with the presence of many objects influenced by Scandinavia, clear traces of Viking tribes, and strong connections with the wider Norse world. The vaulted longhouses, dry stone walling techniques, decorative motifs, iron and bronze tools, all bear Viking style, proving Jarlshof was an important link in ancient trade and migration networks. This partly explains why the cultural layers are so dense and diverse. Jarlshof was like a transit station for peoples, a place that received harmonized and innovated new values upon old foundations. Each time a new generation arrived, they did not entirely erase the legacy before them, but continued it, enriching the stone treasury. Despite a habitation history lasting thousands of years, each group eventually left Jarlshof in silence, leaving no clear records of why. Was it climate change, disease, depleted resources, warfare, or some other mysterious factors? The name Jarlshof itself only appeared in the 19th century, coined by writer Walter Scott in the novel The Pirate. The settlement's original name remains a mystery to this day. This further increases the site's allure and invitation. It is both a witness to history and a book with no title, each new discovery adding new layers of wonder. Today, Jarlshof Stone Settlement is an unmissable destination for anyone who loves history, archaeology, or simply wants to experience the sensation of standing among layers upon layers of overlapping time. Every stone, every wall, every underground chamber tells stories with no ending. Some say that if you listen closely on a windy Shetland night, you can hear the whispers of generations gone by and secrets still hidden beneath ancient stone. Even though modern science has unraveled many wonders at Jarlshof, the mystery of origins and the reason for all these overlapping layers remains a question with no end. Much like Shetland itself, cold, foggy, but forever captivating and alluring. There are ancient mysteries that even after centuries have passed, continue to astound and puzzle the world. Deep within the arid Karakum Desert, where it seems every trace of humanity should have been erased by sand and time, a marvel rises above all limits of understanding, Merv Kala. These ancient walls are not merely the defenses of a long-lost city, but living proof of human creativity and the hidden technological secrets of our ancestors. Despite enduring thousands of years and countless upheavals, these ramparts still stand proud in the heart of the desert, challenging both nature and modern science itself. What has allowed them to endure so long? And perhaps within every ancient brick, there still lies a secret that future generations have yet to uncover. What do you think is the true secret behind the endurance of the Merv Kala walls? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Kala was not merely a simple enclosing wall, but a whole closed defensive system sheltering the most prosperous economic, religious, and cultural center of Merv for many centuries. With an area of nearly 340,000 square meters, Kala formed a solid rectangular block, each side about 2 kilometers long, with the corners being towering watchtowers, mixed with gates, moats, and countless auxiliary structures. But what astonished all historians was the enormous walls between 10 and 12 meters thick, 8 to 10 meters high, stretching over 8 kilometers, built mainly from mud brick, seemingly simple, yet containing many layers of mystery that modern science still cannot fully explain. In a land where summers are arid, rain is rare, sandstorms rage, and harsh sunlight beats down, any structure made of ordinary mud brick would easily erode and collapse after only a few decades. Yet Kala has persisted for more than 2.5 millennia. Despite suffering severe destruction, there remain intact sections of wall, stubbornly defying the passage of time and the desert sands. The biggest question that arises is, how did ancient people create, protect, and maintain such extraordinary durability? For these mud brick blocks, geological and archaeological surveys show that the outermost layer of the fortress used millions of mud bricks produced locally from desert clay mixed with straw water and as yet unidentified additives. Some samples reveal that the chemical composition of these bricks far exceeds normal standards, with traces of alkaline minerals that increase adhesion. Certain areas containing volcanic ash, silica sand, and even unusual organic compounds like plant residues or bio-oil. Notably, the compaction and density of these bricks are superior to traditional techniques of the same era in Mesopotamia or Persia. Kala was not simply built by stacking bricks on top of one another. Many wall segments were constructed in a sandwich style, with layers of rammed earth or mysterious mortar between two brick layers to absorb impact and prevent water penetration. Some parts of the wall contain as many as 4 or 5 different material layers interspersed with separating strata forming an extremely solid multi-layer shield. Many experts suspect that the ancient people of Merv employed heat treatment, long-term sun drying, or even baking the bricks under the desert sun for months, making the interior structure hard as stone. The special adhesive mortars, whose exact composition remains unidentified, helped bond the bricks into unified masses, rarely cracking, even after earthquakes or warfare. While other mud brick walls in Central or Western Asia have been severely eroded by rain floods and sandstorms, Ayaz-Kala retains segments that are nearly indestructible. The outer surface is coated with a smooth, glossy layer, almost as if it were naturally glazed, preventing water from seeping in. Some theories suggest that the ancients used a mixture of fired clay, silica sand, and plant resin to coat the outer surface, creating water and UV-resistant effects, but this formula has not yet been fully reconstructed. Especially notable, many wall sections still bear signs of scorching or chemical alteration from high temperatures, hinting that strange technologies were applied, possibly controlled burning, to harden materials or a treatment method similar to modern solidification. The construction process spanned decades and required tens of thousands of laborers, as well as a highly sophisticated system for producing and transporting materials. The ancient Merv people not only knew how to source and process the best clay, but also understood the precise procedures for mixing, molding, drying, layering, and reinforcing with mortar, all of which had to adhere to exact ratios to achieve maximum durability. To this day, researchers have not fully identified all the tools and means they used, and there is strong suspicion that special master builders who preserved secret techniques across generations were involved, possibly incorporating religious or ritual elements into the construction process to protect the fortress from both natural and human threats. Archaeologists have also discovered many strange objects locked within the fortress walls, such as broken pottery shards, alloy artifacts, traces of organic compounds, and even stone brick molds of very uniform size. Some wall sections show marks of pressing or rolling with large stones, suggesting that the ancients invented primitive mechanical tools to increase the compaction of building materials. Notably, during excavation, scientists have found traces of certain organic compounds altered by heat, possibly tree resin, bio-oil, or even remnants of some kind of ancient chemical technology used to reinforce the mud brick, making the mystery of Ayaz-Kala's construction techniques even more challenging for modern science to unravel. Did the ancient people of Merv rely solely on their own local experience, or did they inherit mysterious construction secrets from greater civilizations such as Persia, Sumer, or even distant Egypt? What made these strange technological mysteries appear almost nowhere else but be concentrated only at Ayaz-Kala? Was this site once a testing ground for the most advanced defensive technologies, or a refuge for master builders during turbulent periods of history? All of these questions remain unanswered, making the mystery of Ayaz-Kala ever deeper and challenging every effort of future generations to unravel it. Around Ayaz-Kala exist many legends that the fortress was cursed by ancient gods, that the outer bricks were infused with sacred fragrance to ward off evil spirits and protect people from plagues, that fortress builders performed rituals to infuse strength into every brick. Locals believe that only by knowing the right magic words or ancient rituals can the walls be breached. Otherwise, neither weapons nor nature can overcome them. Perhaps that is why, after countless centuries of war, Ayaz-Kala still stands tall amidst danger, shielding the Merv relic from the oblivion of time. Today, the Merv Ayaz-Kala walls are recognized by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, a living museum preserving every layer of history from the Persian Empire, Greece, Parthia Sassanid, to the Islamic and Seljuk periods. But more importantly, this place remains a great question for modern science about ancient material engineering, erosion resistance techniques, and the secret of protecting structures through millennia. On the northeast coast of Scotland, where the frigid winds from the North Sea blow year-round, Dunnottar Cliff. Fort Dunnottar Castle stands tall amidst the sky and clouds like an eternal marvel of this land. But beyond its exterior, few imagine that the inner core walls of this fortress hold strange stories and secrets of construction techniques and materials that modern science still fiercely debates today. What's your theory about the mysteries of Dunnottar's core walls? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Dunnottar is unlike any other ancient fortress in Europe. Instead of being situated on a plain or a broad hilltop, it embraces a cliff nearly 50 meters high, surrounded on three sides by the sea, with only a single narrow winding path up and down the slope, connecting it to the mainland. The terrain is so treacherous that even without the walls, Dunnottar itself is an invincible natural fortress. This gave the ancients the ideal foundation to develop core walls, not merely for defense, but as the backbone for the entire structure to survive countless millennia of storms, wars, and erosion. Archaeologists have discovered that the core walls of Dunnottar may contain traces from various eras, from the native Picts in the 5th to 7th centuries to the Norman period and on to the medieval Golden Age of Scotland. Each layer of stone, every detail in construction, is like a line in a stone diary recording the mark of each culture. But what surprises researchers is that despite centuries of additions and renovations, the oldest parts of the core walls retain their alien architecture materials and techniques completely different from other castles of the same era. While ancient European castles were usually built with stones set in mortar, Dunnottar stands out with its dry stone core walls. Stones are set tightly without any kind of mortar. In many places, the stones are cut and beveled into locking joints and interwoven, forming an ultra-stable structure that withstands gravity tremors and even the force of both ancient and modern weapons. Some sections of wall are 5 to 7 meters thick, hollow inside, divided into multiple layers, creating a cushioning effect to absorb impact, insulate, and dampen external vibrations. However, these are just the outer shell of the mystery. The real strangeness lies in the materials used and the construction techniques. Most ancient fortresses in Scotland use local sandstone, but at Dunnottar, many stones in the core walls are identified as a rare type of sandstone, with mineral composition different from nearby quarries. Many have dark red or grey-blue mixed with purple veins, containing rare micro-minerals such as glauconite, hematite, and especially traces of iron and manganese in their natural forms. Some recent studies even found signs of high-temperature alteration on the stone surfaces, suggesting the stones may have been fired or treated in some way to increase hardness and waterproofing. Many large stones, some weighing several tons in the core, do not match any stone types found in the nearby area. There is a hypothesis that stones were transported from quarries tens of kilometers away, possibly by sea or special prehistoric transport routes well beyond the technical ability of local people at that time. Some stones have the texture and color of basalt or granite mixed with sandstone, which only occur far from this region, raising debates about the involvement of mysterious civilizations or hidden builders with advanced transport technology. The most fascinating part of Dunnottar's core walls is the hidden locking technique. When closely observing the joints between the large stones, many places have grooves, small holes, or saw teeth cut inside like tightly locked joints. These grooves are not uniform. Each section uses a different style of joint or connection, forming a crisscross network that increases overall stability. Notably, many of these grooves could only have been made if the ancients had sharp tools, perhaps even advanced metal tools or rotary drills tools, that did not appear until many centuries after the supposed construction date. Though the walls are not built with traditional mortar, many stones at connection points, especially in hard-to-reach places or hidden chambers, have a thin metallic sheen or black spots, thin coatings that chemical analysis shows may contain copper, lead, zinc, and unknown minerals. Some geologists suspect that the ancients developed a natural adhesive based on marine minerals or rare earths, which provided waterproofing adhesion and helped the stones resist salt wind and sea erosion. Why and how they discovered this remains a mystery. It should also be emphasized that this metallic coating may be a byproduct of surface treatment with heat or chemicals, allowing the walls to self-heal minor cracks from temperature changes or impacts, a technique modern science is only now researching for advanced building materials. In the coastal region of Scotland, storms, acid rain, and sea salt are the eternal enemies of every structure. Yet Dunnottar's core walls have retained their strength and shape almost perfectly for more than 1,000 years. Close inspection shows a thin mineral layer on the stone surfaces similar to a natural protective oxide, unusual compared to ordinary sandstone, which easily decays. This leads to the theory that the ancients either intentionally selected and treated materials in a special way, or that the microclimate on the clifftop gifted Dunnottar a natural armor that is hard to replicate. When examining the large stones of the core walls under magnification, archaeologists found extremely fine scratches and perfectly straight cuts. Even some stones have been smoothed with a material harder than iron. This suggests the stonework at Dunnottar far surpassed the stone or bronze tools recognized in early Scottish history. If the ancients really had some mysterious tool or method to cut, join, and smooth stones on a large scale, this could be evidence of lost knowledge or a construction craft forgotten by history. Inside the core walls, many small empty spaces, ventilation tubes, and even regularly spaced hollows have been discovered. Many theories suggest these are a natural shock absorption system, helping the walls absorb impacts and vibrations from strong winds or even minor earthquakes. Though rare here, the area can experience tremors from large ocean waves. These spaces also help prevent flooding, drain rainwater, and keep the interior dry, a technical innovation that modern engineers must learn from. For hundreds of years, battered by waves, eroded by sea winds, and attacked by salt, yet Dunnottar's core walls show almost no sagging, cracking, or collapse. Some sections have been reinforced over many generations, but the oldest walls still retain their structure and color. There are legends that these stones were enchanted or sourced from sacred places so they never decay. This contributes to the fortress's mystical aura, causing both locals and travelers to believe Dunnottar is not only a fortress but a sacred totem of the land. Up until now, dozens of international research teams have come to Dunnottar bringing modern analytical equipment to examine the materials of the core walls, but the results remain shrouded in mystery. No one has been able to explain why these stone walls are so incredibly durable, even though chemical analyses have found no modern mortar or additives. Nor has anyone managed to fully replicate the techniques of cutting, joining, and surface treatment seen in the core walls using only prehistoric tools. Even the strange minerals present in the stones have never been found in any other structures from the same era. Some theories suggest that Dunnottar is a legacy of lost technology, that the ancestors of the Scottish people may have had contact with building techniques from another civilization, possibly the Atlanteans, Roman stonemasons, or perhaps even with the help of supernatural forces. Although these are just theories, they only make Dunnottar even more mysterious than ever. Besides science, Dunnottar is also enveloped in a mist of legend and folklore. There are tales claiming that ancient spirits once taught people the art of building immortal walls, and some believe that beneath the great stones of the core walls, treasures or sacred objects, the true secret of lasting durability, were buried. Regardless of what is true, it is the fact that the materials and construction techniques simply cannot be explained by ordinary logic that has given Dunnottar its enduring allure throughout every stage of history, from the era of the Pictish warriors to the battles with the English and on into modern times. Dunnottar Cliff. Fort core walls are not just stone walls, but a mysterious engineering marvel that reminds us of the extraordinary creativity of our ancestors. Even after thousands of years, the secrets of the materials and construction techniques here remain unsolved. That is what makes Dunnottar a unique symbol, attracting scientists, archaeologists, and mystery enthusiasts from around the world. Until the day humanity truly unravels these mysteries, Dunnottar will remain the wall of enigmas standing firm under the skies of Scotland. In the heart of ancient Aleppo, a city that was once among the most bustling trade and cultural centers of the Middle East, stands a structure so awe-inspiring that even modern architects and engineers are left speechless: the Citadel of Aleppo. With a history spanning more than 4,000 years, this fortress is not only a living witness to conquest's glories and losses, but also an unsolved technical puzzle that has never been fully decoded. What do you think is the greatest mystery behind the construction of the Citadel of Aleppo? How do you think ancient people managed to build such a solid fortress? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Based on archaeological findings, it is believed that the hill on which the Citadel of Aleppo stands has been inhabited since the 3rd millennium BCE. Some legends even claim that it was once the site of a temple dedicated to the god Hadad of the Amorites, or a religious ceremonial center from prehistoric times. This makes the deep foundations and architectural layers within the hill all the more mysterious, making it nearly impossible to determine who the true original builders of the citadel were. The Citadel of Aleppo is a structure that leaves anyone in awe due to its construction techniques far ahead of its time, containing a multitude of mysteries that challenge all explanations even today. The very first thing that makes this fortress extraordinary is that it was built on an artificial hill nearly 50 meters higher than its surroundings, which archaeologists believe was reinforced, expanded, and elevated over many centuries, using millions of cubic meters of earth and stone. How ancient people were able to transport, accumulate, and compact each layer of earth and stone to ensure a foundation that would remain solid for thousands of years is a question that still has no answer. Techniques for preventing subsidence and landslides, combined with an ingenious underground drainage system, allowed the entire hill to withstand countless earthquakes, wars, and fires throughout the millennia. As you approach the limestone and basalt walls, up to 5 meters thick and more than 20 meters high, surrounding the hill in an oval, continue to astonish observers. Many sections are constructed from massive stone blocks, weighing up to dozens of tons with almost no visible tool marks, and the stones are fitted together with such absolute precision that in many places not even a thin blade can be inserted between them. Whether mortar was used or not, the walls have stood firm for thousands of years, enduring both earthquakes and bombardments. In some places, researchers have even discovered corner locking and vertical locking techniques, meaning that the stones are interlaced and woven together, forming a chain of locks that cannot be separated, making the entire wall a unified structure, able to resist all outside forces. The gate structure of the Citadel of Aleppo is also one of its most unique features, considered impregnable by any army. The main gate on the southern side comprises 2 sturdy vaulted layers and a zigzag Z-shaped path that prevents intruders from launching a direct assault. Notably, the stone drawbridge connecting the base of the hill to the main gate is a masterpiece of ancient mechanics. When raised, it completely blocks the entrance. To this day, the techniques used to create the hinges, gears, and levers that operate this drawbridge remain a major mystery, especially when viewed in the context of medieval materials and technology. Hidden deep within the fortress is a network of tunnels, secret chambers, and complex water systems that have yet to be fully explored. Some tunnels run through the heart of the hill, connecting the inner fortress to the outside, leading to underground wells and food storage features that played an extremely important role during periods of siege. Archaeologists have discovered underground cisterns with the capacity of hundreds of cubic meters, waterproofed with special mortar and equipped with primitive filtration systems, ensuring a clean water supply for thousands of people sheltering inside. The construction, maintenance, and operation of this system are a major mystery concerning the technical capabilities, labor organization, and project management of the ancient world. Not only overwhelming in scale and solidity, the Citadel of Aleppo is also regarded as a living museum of construction techniques spanning many eras from the Hellenistic period, Roman, Byzantine, and Islamic Middle Ages to the Ottomans. Each dynasty left its mark in the form of walls, temples, palaces, watchtowers, chapels, and forges. The structure of the fortress was continually expanded, reinforced, and restored. That's why, within the heart of the citadel, experts have found as many as 3 or 4 layers of foundations each, using entirely different materials and methods, like pages of stone history stacked upon one another, forming a massive historical picture. The Citadel of Aleppo is likened to a battleship on land with an interconnected, intricate defensive system. Beyond its extremely thick walls, the fortress also contains bunkers, watchtowers, granaries, cisterns, and cleverly arranged underground traps, allowing residents and soldiers to hold out for months during a siege. Tiny windows, arrow slits, and trapdoors are arranged in zigzag patterns to create a labyrinth that disorients enemies. Many of the traps remain undiscovered, possibly concealing the special defensive weapons of the ancients. Although it has witnessed thousands of years, countless dynasties, kings, generals, wars, and times of peace, the Citadel of Aleppo still harbors mysteries that have never been fully unraveled. To this day, the true identities of those who designed and directed the construction of the very first foundation layers remain a major question, as no one knows exactly who the architects, engineers, or labor force that laid the first stones were. In addition, the origins and transportation process of the construction materials is another significant mystery, since some of the stone used for the fortress walls has been identified as coming from very distant sources, requiring passage over many mountain ranges and plains, yet the specific routes and means of transport have not been clearly determined. Furthermore, the operating mechanisms of the drawbridge and main gates have never been fully explained, as no original design or model has been found to help us fully understand how these special mechanical systems worked. Lastly, rumors of secret tunnels leading outside the citadel, hidden treasures, and buried chambers beneath the ground only add to the allure and enigma of the Citadel of Aleppo, as no one has yet been able to explore all the hidden corners deep within this mighty fortress. It can be said that the Citadel of Aleppo is proof of humanity's stature in turning ideas into reality, defying all limits of technology, materials, and eras. From the artificial hill, massive stone walls, solid gates, ingenious drawbridges, to the defensive systems, every detail showcases the superior technical prowess and boundless creativity of ancient civilizations. To this day, even with the most advanced modern science and technology, there are still countless questions about the Citadel of Aleppo that researchers give up on, before the wisdom and perseverance of those who came before. Each time we set foot upon these ancient ramparts, we cannot help but feel humbled by their scale, their intricacy, and the layers of mystery still waiting to be uncovered within this monumental relic. The Citadel of Aleppo is not just a fortress, not just a historical relic, it is a technical cipher that challenges posterity. The mysteries of construction, techniques, the legends of treasures, tunnel systems, defensive tactics, and the interwoven historical layers make this place one of the greatest, most mysterious and inspiring structures in the history of humankind. Who will be the next to decode the thousand-year secrets still hidden within the Citadel of Aleppo? Hidden atop the treacherous peaks of ancient Crimea, Mangup-Kale is far from an ordinary cave fortress. It is a magnificent labyrinth, layered with centuries of history, legend, and mysteries that stretch beyond the imagination of modern minds. For countless centuries, this place served as an impregnable stronghold, the power center of long-lost kingdoms, and a silent witness to waves of upheaval, conquest, and extraordinary construction techniques that still astonish scientists today. Setting foot in Mangup-Kale feels like stepping into another world, where every stone and every tunnel holds untold stories of the creativity, resilience, and secrets of those who came before. What special methods or tools do you think ancient people might have used to build the massive stone walls and secret underground chambers at Mangup-Kale? Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. Mangup-Kale is situated on a horseshoe-shaped limestone promontory, surrounded on all four sides by deep gorges with only a few steep footpaths leading up to the summit, which rises more than 250 meters above the surrounding valley. This location turned Mangup-Kale into a natural fortress, a place where any enemy would hesitate before daring to attack. The mountaintop covers nearly 90 hectares, large enough to accommodate not only ramparts, but also residential areas, churches, food stores, wells, and a complex underground system. The history of Mangup-Kale is a convergence of many cultures: the Goths, Greeks, Byzantines, Mongols, Ottomans, Russians. Each period left behind its own unique architectural stamp. From massive dry stone ramparts, tangled underground chambers, to churches carved deep into the rock face, and Gothic cemeteries scattered throughout. At Mangup-Kale, there is no clear boundary between the natural and the artificial. The solid ramparts are built directly on the bedrock. Underground chambers are expanded from natural caves, and tunnels connect different defensive areas and provide secret escape routes. Just one walk along the ancient walls is enough to reveal the complex interweaving of construction generations. Ancient walls, built of large, unmortared stones, intermingle with Byzantine lime-mortared repairs and smaller stonework added by the Ottomans. The most remarkable feature of Mangup-Kale is its cave and underground system. Hidden rooms, food stores, water cisterns, weapon caches. All were carved directly into the limestone cliff, with some extending several tens of meters deep. Many large caves have windows overlooking the abyss, both for ventilation and enemy observation, while still ensuring maximum safety. Inside many caves, staircases are carved into the wall post holes, water gutters, and even traces of lifting mechanisms, possibly for moving heavy objects upwards or operating stone gates, have been found. The ventilation and rainwater collection system leading into storage tanks is another astonishing technical achievement, allowing residents to hold out for a long time without lacking fresh water. Some underground chambers have hidden doors only operable from inside, or narrow tunnels leading out to the mountain slope, believed to be escape routes when the fortress was besieged. To this day, not all tunnels and hidden chambers in Mangup-Kale have been discovered. Many remain sealed or have collapsed, concealing mysteries that have gone unsolved for hundreds of years. The most remarkable feature of Mangup-Kale lies in the construction techniques, materials, and unusual technologies used by ancient builders. The entire fortress was erected on local limestone, but through the hands of generations of residents, this material was skillfully worked far beyond the ordinary. Limestone, though softer than granite or basalt, is very easy to cut and shape. Large blocks were quarried right on site and used for ramparts, arches, stairs, and underground chambers. Notably, many of the older sections consist of massive stone blocks weighing several tons, fitted tightly together without mortar, using the dry stone walling technique typically seen only in great civilizations like ancient Greece or Rome. The strength of these structures comes from the precision of each stone and the highly refined cutting and fitting methods, allowing the construction to endure for centuries. What remains mysterious is exactly what tools ancient people used to cut and shape the stone. With such accuracy, some marks left behind are reminiscent of Mediterranean techniques. In addition, transporting those heavy stone blocks up to the perilous heights of the cliff is a problem that has yet to be definitively solved. Hypotheses about pulleys, ramps, or inclined wooden slides have all yet to be confirmed by archaeology. The underground chambers of Mangup-Kale were not simply hollowed out of the rock. They also have well-designed load-bearing structures, natural stone columns left in place as supports, arched ceilings to prevent collapse, round niches that help distribute pressure, and walls treated for water resistance with layers of clay or special mortar mixed with small gravel, a technique similar to that used in anti-damp food storage pits in the Caucasus region. Moreover, deep wells bored into the mountain underground reservoirs, collecting rainwater via stone gutters and tightly sealed lids to prevent evaporation and contamination, all demonstrate an extremely effective system for water management. Spaces near these reservoirs all have small ventilation openings to create natural airflow, keeping the water from stagnating. Many underground rooms were designed to be multi-purpose, serving as storage shelters and even hidden guard posts, connected by narrow tunnels just wide enough for one person and concealed stone sliding doors. Wall-embedded ventilation systems and skylights were also carefully calculated to ensure air circulation and to serve as light signals or alarms in case of siege. In particular, many of these construction techniques are no longer seen in later Crimean fortresses, including those built during the Ottoman or Russian periods. Features such as perfectly fitted unmortared stonework socket holes in cave ceilings for sliding stone door mechanisms and special water-resistant treatments for cisterns all show that the earliest inhabitants of Mangup-Kale possessed unique building knowledge and secret skills that may have been lost over time or vanished as later generations took over. Although many traces of Mangup-Kale's construction techniques remain, the exact origins, development process, and especially the technologies and tools involved have yet to be conclusively identified. Many deep caves remain unexplored due to landslide risks, collapse, or being sealed. Additionally, some local legends tell of hidden treasure rooms, secret tunnels out of the fortress known only to the leaders. Modern exploration reports mention bottomless wells, but these remain unexamined because modern equipment struggles to reach such areas given the lack of oxygen and danger of rockfalls. Some theories suggest Mangup-Kale was once a site for secret religious rituals or had connections to ancient secret societies. Some archaeologists have discovered strange symbols carved into deep cave walls, but their meanings remain undeciphered. Mangup-Kale Cave Fortress is not merely a stronghold of stone and caves. It is a monument to the intelligence and endurance of ancient generations. The construction techniques, materials, and technologies applied here still leave modern scientists and engineers in awe and curiosity. The mysteries of the tools, methods of stone extraction, transport of massive blocks to the mountaintop, as well as the defensive and water storage structures, remain the subjects of lively debate and endless inspiration for future generations. With every new hidden chamber or ancient wall discovered, Mangup-Kale poses new questions. Just how intelligent, persistent, and creative were the people of old to turn a wild mountain into an impregnable fortress, forever remaining one of the greatest mysteries of Crimea? Amidst the sun-soaked landscapes of the American Southwest stands a one-of-a-kind square stone tower, Hovenweep Square Tower, that has silently endured for centuries. Perched on a precarious cliff, deep within a barren canyon, this structure resembles a pre-Columbian cipher, challenging the intellect of our modern age. More than just a trace of a vanished culture, Square Tower gathers all the hallmarks of mystery, extraordinary construction techniques, unusual architecture, and above all, its true purpose, a monumental question that has never been answered. Through countless generations, this stone tower has remained motionless in the desert, as if waiting for someone to finally unlock the last secret left behind by the ancients. What do you think the true purpose of Hovenweep Square Tower was? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Hovenweep means deserted desert, a name that partly conveys the feeling of an ancient land where silent stone ruins are scattered across the rugged cliffs between Colorado and Utah. Among these structures, Square Tower stands out as a symbol of intelligence and mystery. A square stone tower built right on the edge of Little Ruin Canyon, rising as high as 4 stories with sheer, sturdy walls. No one knows for certain why the Pueblo people chose such a perilous location to build these towers, but one thing is clear from Square Tower: people could survey the entire canyon and surrounding lands as if it were an eye watching over the ancient desert. Every stone at Square Tower was shaped and assembled with astonishing precision. The walls are thick surfaces, flat, the corners nearly perfect. Tiny holes, light slits, and miniature windows were deliberately positioned. The top floor may once have been used to observe the sky or send signals afar. Research shows the ancients used local sandstone, but had to transport carved stack and bind them without modern cement mortar. Even so, the structure has stood firm for more than 700 years through countless seasons of rain, wind, and climate change. For more than a century of research, countless theories have been proposed regarding the true purpose of the Square Tower, but so far, none has proven entirely convincing. Some suggest that given its precarious position on the cliff edge, the small windows just large enough for observation or archery, and the thick walls designed to withstand force, the Square Tower once served as a miniature fortress, protecting residents from dangers such as wild animals or rival tribes. However, the surrounding ruins are not an enclosed stronghold, but rather scattered clusters of towers, storehouses, and pottery kilns, hardly enough to constitute a major military base. Another theory proposes that the tower's sturdy structure, few entrances, minimal light, and naturally cool interior made it ideal for storing food, water, or valuables. Some archaeologists even consider the tower a kind of elevated granary protecting supplies from insects and thieves. Yet to this day, no definitive evidence, such as traces of grain animal bones or large cisterns, has been found. The architectural sophistication, prominent position amid nature, and windows oriented to the sunrise-sunset or astronomical events, like solstices and equinoxes, also lead many to believe that the Square Tower once hosted rituals, prayers, or sky watching. Some small windows appear to be precisely aligned with the sun's position on special days of the year, creating strange light effects inside the tower. Additionally, some modern researchers lean toward the idea that the Square Tower and its neighboring towers formed a signal tower network, transmitting alerts by fire or light from one to another, so residents could raise alarms or organize communal events. Some small windows on the upper levels offer wide views of the entire area, suitable for observation or signaling. Still no clear physical evidence, such as long-term fire marks or ancient measuring devices, has yet been discovered. Excavations around the square tower have revealed pottery fragments, stone tools, animal bones, and ashes, but all these are just small clues insufficient to confirm any single primary function. Notably, no artifact strong enough has been found to prove the tower was ever a long-term dwelling, a storehouse of important assets, or a sacred site. Nor has any solid internal staircase or corridor to the upper floors been found, leading to speculation that only a select few chieftains, shamans, or guards were allowed inside, while the majority of residents lived in low masonry houses scattered below the canyon. When looking at Hovenweep as a whole, each group of towers exhibits a different shape and structure. Round towers, square towers, double walls houses built against the cliff. Each site has its own unique features, making it difficult to assign a single purpose to them all. So perhaps Square Tower was a kind of multi-purpose room of the ancient world, serving at times for defense worship, storage, and possibly even astronomical observation for the Pueblo people. Even after compiling all these theories, scientists must admit we do not have a definite answer, and it is precisely this ambiguity that creates the mysterious allure of the Square Tower. Hovenweep is part of a large network of ruins closely linked to the unresolved mysteries of the ancient Pueblo civilization. These people built hundreds of stone structures, farmed in arid lands, and used highly inventive water systems, but suddenly vanished at the end of the 13th century. There are no records, no detailed legends left behind, only traces of abandoned buildings, signs of last meals, and Square Tower still standing as if challenging all modern attempts at deciphering. Besides small windows facing the sun, some carved stone symbols and odd holes in the walls remain unexplained. Many researchers believe these marks contain astronomical messages or religious symbols, but none can be matched with any known system of ancient signs. Inside the tower, many scorch marks and ashes show fires once burned here for long periods. Are these traces of daily life religious ceremonies, or simply guard fires? All are mere speculation without a definitive answer. Square Tower does not stand alone. It is a link in the chain of archaeological mysteries stretching from Hovenweep to Mesa Verde Chaco Canyon and many other sites in New Mexico, Colorado. All share similar features: timeless construction techniques, traces of astronomy, sudden disappearances of inhabitants, and unsolved mysteries about the true purpose of these structures. This raises major questions. Did ancient civilizations once connect sharing astronomical knowledge, building skills, and complex belief systems? Or is Square Tower simply a unique creation of a small community? Yet it left a great mark on human history. More than 700 years have passed since Square Tower was built, yet questions about its true purpose remain unanswered. Was it once an impregnable fortress, or simply a hidden granary perched high above, or a place for stargazing ceremonies and prayer, or perhaps all are the products of modern imagination, while ancient people had far more practical goals? Whatever the answer, it is precisely this mystery that has made Square Tower one of the most magnificent and fascinating structures in North American archaeology. It reminds us that not every secret must be solved, for sometimes the greatest value lies in dreaming, imagining, and searching for answers without end.